Flashback no Jutsu. October 10th, the day that would leave a lasting impression among the people of the Hidden Leaf. October 10th, the day the Nine-Tails Fox would raise hell among Konoha. Hundreds of lives would be lost that night, but among those losses would be the rise of two new lives. Though in order to understand this tale, you must first understand what happened on October 10th, the day the Kyuubi attacked. In cave not too far from the village was a group of shinobi. Outside of the cage stood a small group of ANBU, guarding the people inside. Inside the cave was a red-headed woman, who was known as Kushina Namikaze, and to a selected few the second Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox. Kushina was in complete agony, as she was close to giving birth. To her side stood the Yondaime Hokage, keeping the nine tails in check. The Yondaime Hokage, aka Minato Namikaze, looked at his wife with distress. The woman delivering the babies, Biwako Sarutobi, merely shook her head at Minato's antics. Men thought the wife of the third Hokage as she concentrated at the task at hand. Wah! The crying of the first baby rang through the room. A small red-headed boy was in the arms of Biwako. Biwako passed the boy to her assistant and went right back to work. Then a few moments later the sound of the second baby rang through the room. Wah! Minato looked at the children with renewed happiness, and he quickly looked back down to his wife. Minato could see the large smile on his wife's pained face, then in the blink of an eye everything changed. Line. The village hidden in the leaf was near complete destruction. An enormous hole was found in the village's outer walls, the place where the third Hokage had forced the Kyuubi out. The village itself was practically in shambles. While portions of it were completely the village walls, a large portion of the forest was completely gone. In this clearing stood several shinobi, and among those shinobi stood the third Hokage. His eyes wide, as he just witnessed the Kyuubi disappear. Where did it go? An enormous light that illuminated the night could be seen in the distance. Line. Snake, boar, ram, rabbit, dog, rat, bird, horse, snake. Minato finished the last seal and clapped his hands together. Clap. A giant apparition appeared behind Minato. The apparition wore a long white cloak, and he had long white. Suddenly Minato's soul appeared at the hands of the apparition. Minato's eye twitched as he muttered the jutsu's name, Shiki Fujin. Minato looked to his left and looked at his severely injured wife. Kushina was kneeled to a ceiling shrine where their newborn twins lay. Minato narrowed his eyes, as they were quickly filled with determination. Turning forward, he glared at the nine tails, who was being held down by Kushina's chakra chains. Minato formed a hand seal, and the death god struck his hand through Minato's back. The death god's hand entered Minato and used his body as a medium. Then suddenly the same hand exploded from Minato's stomach and latched onto the nine tails. Minato gritted his teeth. I'll see the een half into Mito, and then LL seal the other half into me. No, I must seal it into Naruto. Minato looked at his two children. They must be the two to stop Madara, the Jinchurikis of the nine-tailed fox. Minato looked forward, and he directed the death god's hand to rip away the een half of the nine tails. In a quick motion, the hand of the death god did exactly that. Minato watched as the nine tails shrunk in size, and he quickly moved to seal away the een. Wah! Cried Mito as the een was sealed into her. Minato wasted no time and moved to seal away the second half. He grabbed onto the remaining half of the nine tails and proceeded to seal it into Naruto. Then all at once Minato's body froze, and he watched as the hand kept moving. What are you doing? Shouted Minato as he managed to tilt his head towards the Shinigami. Kushina had heard Minato's shout and turned to face him. Kushina's eyes widened in shock as she felt the excruciating pain of having the nine tails resealed into her. Gah! A hole was ripped in the clothes of Kushina, and in that hole her stomach was revealed to the whole world. A 8-sign seal appeared on her stomach, and Kushina's eyes rolled into the back of her head. Minato watched in torment as his wife fell into a state of unconscious. Minato felt himself regain control of his body, and he fell to his knees. Minato looked behind him and stared at the Shinigami in disbelief. What's the meaning of this? You are a fortunate mortal. Today I've decided to help you scum known as humans, spoke the death god. Minato's eyes widened in shock, as he hadn't expected a response. Why? The death god gave him a devilish grin. The time has drawn near. The child to complete the prophecy is near. Though in order for that agenda to occur, things need to occur. I usually don't mess around with mortal affairs, but I'll make this exception. Minato asked, prophecy? Are you talking about the child of prophecy? The death god stood still, and Minato watched as his soul was returned into his body. In order for the prophecy to occur, you must live. But do not think you have cheated death, mortal. Your soul will eventually be mine, but do remember my words. Minato's eyes closed, and his hearing suddenly became dull. The release of the jutsu had quickly sent him into unconsciousness, disabling him from hearing the death god's last words. You will become your son's greatest pain. The death god looked over to the boy and wasn't surprised to meet the boy's eyes. Even though he's so young, he's unconsciously able to feel me. Could he finally be the one? The death god silently disappeared from the area, his eyes never leaving the small child. And now our story begins. Time skip 8 years. A young red-haired boy could be seen peeking out the window. His gaze remained frozen on a pair of people in his backyard. The boy put himself into a better position, and thus revealing more of his body to the outside world. The boy stood quite tall for his age at a height of 3'11". He had short, spiky red hair, and with the whisker marks on his cheek. It gave the boy a ferocious look. But his bright blue eyes was the real abnormality to his looks. Compared to the rest of his features, his eyes were the things that stood out the most for the boy. The boy stared intently at the group, trying to memorize every little detail he could. Out in his backyard stood the Yondaime Hokage and a young blonde-haired girl. The redhead watched as the child attempted to run up the tree, but quickly fell off. A frown was placed on the boy's face as he watched the man catch her, and they both laughed. Naruto shook his head and turned away from his window. He walked quickly to his dresser and opened up a drawer. He pulled out a kunai and slammed the drawer shut. Unintentionally, he caused the pictures on top of his dresser to fall over. The boy sighed as he reached out to pick the things out. The first thing he picked up was a wooden block with a name on it. Naruto Namikaze. The boy gave his name a quick glance and placed it onto his dresser. He picked up a picture and stared at it. It was a picture of him with a beautiful blonde woman. The title under it read, Grandma Tsunade. Naruto moved over and picked up 2 more. One picture, he was much younger and was sitting on an old man's lap with the blonde girl. Old Man Hokage. Naruto looked at the 3rd picture. A masked shinobi with silver head stood by Naruto. His hand was messing up Naruto's hair, but Naruto was still smiling into the picture. Kakashi. Naruto picked up the last picture. It was a picture with him and the blonde girl. Behind them stood Minato and Kushina. Family pie. Naruto didn't read the rest, as he slammed the picture face down onto the drawer. Naruto quietly opened his door and moved silently through the hall. As he reached the end of it, he stopped to peek around the corner. Naruto glanced into the kitchen to see his mother preparing a meal. Naruto looked down to his kunai. If I tell her what I'm doing, she won't let me go. Naruto frowned as he thought back to why all this was happening. Flashback in Ojutsu 1 year ago. It was early morning in Konoha, and Naruto sat fully awake at the breakfast table. To his side sat Mito, who was sleeping on the table, and Minato was sitting across them. Plates and chopsticks were set for each of them. Naruto took a deep breath as he waited for his mom to enter the room. Today's the day. I asked Mom and Dad to help train me too. They've been training Mito for a month, and I think it's time for me too. Naruto smiled as he thought about the things he could be learning. He was about to let out a childish giggle when he saw his mom enter the kitchen. He quickly eyed his father, who was busy reading, and straightened himself up, trying to look as mature as possible. Dad? Mom? In an innocent voice. Minato and Kushina both looked up and looked at each other. One thought ran through their heads. He wants something. Kushina gave Naruto a questioning look. What is it, Naruto? Naruto sweated a bit under his mother's look. She already knows I want something. Minato brushed Kushina off. Kushina lessened that look. You're going to scare him off. Kushina glared at Minato. I'm not scaring him off. Mom. Dad. Can I talk? Interrupted Naruto. Kushina and Minato looked at Naruto. Minato smiled. What is it, Naruto? Well, I was wondering. Naruto twirled his fingers a bit. If you could start teaching me the ninja arts like Mito. Mito was suddenly wide awake and listened to Naruto's conversation. Kushina and Minato both rose an eyebrow. Minato gave Naruto a patient look. Naruto, we've already told you why I started training Mito early. Naruto nodded. It's because she's the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and she needs extra help controlling her chakra. Naruto looked up with determination. I know that, but I promise I won't be a burden. You just have to teach me once, and I swear I'll manage to figure things out on my own. You won't even have to waste that much time with me. I promise. Minato sighed. That's not how it works, Naruto. When teaching young children like you to use chakra, you need a lot of attention. Due to my Hokage duties, I don't have much time to teach you. In fact, it's usually your mother who teaches Mito, and she needs to have all her focus on Mito. Naruto's eyes were slowly beginning to fill up with disappointment. But Dad. No, but Dad's, replied Kushina. You heard your father. Kushina walked over to Naruto and placed her hands on his shoulder. Once you enter the academy, you'll learn how to wield your chakra there. Naruto's eyes suddenly lit up with an idea. Then why don't you let me join now? They could probably teach me how to use my chakra. Kushina sighed. Because you don't have to enter until you're 9. Since all they teach you at your age is the basics of reading, writing, and history. We teach you that already. Naruto finally frowned. Then why can't I just enter now? I already know all that. I'm sure I could just skip ahead. Kushina looked over to Minato, and Minato frowned. They knew that already, but Kushina and Minato didn't want their children to grow up so fast. They themselves had seen the horrors of war at their children's age. Kushina's temper finally got the best of her. I said no, and that's final. Naruto shut his eyes in anger, but he did nothing. Kushina and Minato looked at each other and shared a sigh. Mito merely gazed at her brother, not uttering a word. Flashback, no jutsu release. 1 year ago. Naruto took a deep breath and ran to the door. Mom, I'm going to the park. Kushina looked behind her. What? Though before she knew what was happening, Naruto was already out the door. Kushina sighed. He better not be late for dinner. Line. Naruto stood in a clearing near the park. The spot was secluded, so no one else could see what he was doing. Naruto stared at the tall, thick tree he had picked. From what I was seeing, Mito was using her chakra to walk up the tree. Naruto took a deep breath. If I'm correct, I must direct the flow of chakra to my feet in order to walk up the tree. Naruto formed a hand seal and closed his eyes to concentrate. Gather the chakra to my feet. Naruto opened his eyes and pulled out the kunai he grabbed earlier. Then he swiftly ran up to the tree and started running up the tree. Naruto took 3 steps, and he grinned. I'm doing it. Snap. Only 3 feet off the ground, Naruto heard the breaking of bark. Naruto quickly looked down to his feet. Then he suddenly realized he was upside down and falling to the ground. Thump. Naruto's head slammed into the ground, and Naruto fell to his side. He quickly rubbed his head. I might need to use less chakra. Naruto took a few steps back and repeated the earlier process. Then he looked at the tree and once again ran towards it. Line. A black-haired teen sat in the branches of a high tree. His hair was wild and spiky and wore a high-colored black shirt. His eyes were closed, and he was sleeping silently in the tree. His eyes suddenly cracked open, revealing his black onyx eyes. The teen yawned and took a good look around. He looked up to the sky. It'll be sunset soon. The teen frowned. Did I really waste the whole day sleeping? Oh well, I needed it. Shisui looked around once more, and he suddenly rose an eyebrow. He looked down at the red-haired boy. He's still at it? That boy has been here since a little past noon. Shisui looked at the tree he was staring at. Shisui shook his head. By looking at the marks, he hasn't managed to get past 7 feet. Shisui watched as Naruto formed a hand seal and begun gathering chakra to his feet. Though I'll give him credit, he has determination. Shisui then watched as he raced up the tree, and then Shisui's eyes widened. He watched as he flew past the 7 feet mark and smoothly ran up halfway the tree, where several markings gone unnoticed by Shisui were. Naruto ran a few more steps before he marked his spot and jumped off. Naruto landed on the ground smoothly, but out of nowhere he stumbled backwards and fell to his knees. Naruto suddenly let out a big grin as he attempted to catch his breath. Shisui couldn't help but grin as well. What an impressive brat. That's better than most Jinin do in a week. Shisui then scratched his chin. That red hair, though. Why does it seem so familiar? Shisui was broken from his thoughts when Naruto suddenly raced up the tree once more. Naruto ran swiftly up the tree and managed to get a few steps past his mark. Naruto grabbed his kunai and attempted to mark his spot. The kunai cut deeply into the tree, but it was suddenly caught in it. Naruto's eyes widened in shock, and he lost total balance of his body. With no control of his body, he plummeted to the ground. As Naruto fell to the ground, Shisui's eyes widened, realizing who exactly Naruto was, the Yandame's son. Naruto shut his eyes, expecting the worst, but it never came. Naruto slowly reopened them and was surprised to be in Shisui's arms. For a moment, Naruto felt a sense of déjà vu. Just like Dad and Mito, he saved me from hitting the floor. Hey kiddo, I'm Shisui. Quite the close shave back there, huh? Spoke Shisui. Naruto was suddenly brought back to reality, and the situation dawned upon him. Naruto remained frozen for a second, causing Shisui to panic. Are you alright? AGHH, shouted Shisui as Naruto's fist slammed into his face. Shisui let go of Naruto, and Naruto jumped away. Shisui clenched his nose and glared at Naruto. What was that for? Naruto glared at Shisui. How do I know you're not an enemy ninja? You don't have a forehead protector, nor are you wearing any Konoha attire. Shisui's sweat dropped. Me an enemy shinobi? Don't you see the Uchiha crest on my back? Out of nowhere, the kunai from earlier landed in between of Naruto and Shisui. Naruto eyed the kunai. Why don't you show me? Shisui sighed. Fine. Shisui turned around, revealing his back. See? Shisui's eyes widened as he turned around to see Naruto with the kunai in his hand. Then with the flick of his wrist, it was flying at impressive speeds with deadly accuracy. Shisui was impressed. Even his throwing is quite refined. Then Shisui caught the blade with his bare hands. Let me tell you a few things, kid. Naruto's eyes widened as he watched Shisui catch his kunai with minimal effort. First, if I was actually an enemy shinobi, I would have killed you by now. Shisui walked closer to Naruto. Second, you shouldn't attack your enemy with dull blades. That's why it got stuck in the tree earlier. Shisui suddenly activated his Sharingan. Finally, I'm a shinobi of the Hidden Leaf Village. Just because I don't have my stuff doesn't mean I'm not a shinobi of this village. Shisui tossed a blade to Naruto, and Naruto caught it. Naruto then rubbed the back of his head. I'm sorry, Shisui. It's just I'm really tired and a bit off edge. It's just no one ever comes out here, so I was surprised to see anyone here. Shisui nodded. I see. So what are you doing out here? I'm sure your father would allow you to practice in any of the training grounds. In fact, where is he? This tree climb training is usually hard to do without a teacher, and you've been doing it all day. Shisui watched as Naruto rubbed the back of his head again. About that. Shisui sighed and rubbed the back of his head. Why do I feel like I'm walking into a heap of trouble? All right, tell me the whole story. Line. Naruto and Shisui sat at the base of Naruto's training tree. Naruto took a deep breath. And that's it. I'm out here because my parents refused to train me, so I've decided to train myself. Shisui looked over at Naruto. I don't know whether to be impressed or not. Naruto rose an eyebrow. What do you mean? Shisui rested his head across the tree. Well, from one's view, it looks like you're just being a little whiny brat that doesn't want to wait another year to start playing ninja. Naruto's eyes widened in anger, and he clenched his fists. It's not that. Shisui cut him off, or I've stumbled upon some type of prodigy. All the anger in Naruto's eyes were replaced with shock. I mean, it's completely unheard of some. Not even academy student to nearly master this exercise in a day. Not to mention you did it by merely seeing someone else do it a few times. Praise Shisui, that's just crazy. Naruto remained silent at the praise, and Shisui suddenly smiled. Look here, kid. I've been looking for a student for a while, to rival my best friend who's teaching his little brother. So how about it? You wouldn't mind it if I taught you? Shisui closed his eyes expecting some type of loud response, but he opened his eyes at the sound of sobbing. Shisui suddenly panicked. What are you doing? Why are you crying? Naruto wiped away a tear. I'm sorry. It's just I've never been praised so highly by anyone. And, and, I would gladly be your student, Shisui-sensei. Shisui suddenly understood the situation and gave Naruto a smile. I guess I understand the kid. I guess the neglect Ion in his training has made him feel inferior to his sister. Naruto suddenly hugged Shisui, and Shisui awkwardly hugged him back, but that doesn't mean I'm going to make him feel better. Hey kid, stop hugging me. I'm not some teddy bear, shouted Shisui. Snore. Shisui deadpanned. He fell asleep. Shisui sighed. He has been training all day. I guess it's finally caught up to him. Shisui grabbed Naruto and tossed him over his back. I guess I have to take him home now. If I leave him here, the Yondaime won't be too happy. With Naruto on his back, Shisui jumped to the trees and raced to Naruto's house, completely unaware of the grin that sneaked onto Naruto's face. Naruto was laying in his bed enjoying the peaceful sleep he was having, until he heard his mother yell, "Naruto, get up." Naruto, slowly rising up, noticed that it was only 7 a.m. Naruto was thinking to himself, what do they want? They usually don't wake me up unless it's my birthday. Looking at the calendar, he noticed it was October 10th. He quickly dashed out of his room, now full aware it was his 9th birthday. Knowing that today was his birthday, but more importantly knowing he would be able to sign up for the academy. As he raced to the kitchen, he was expecting hugs and happy birthdays from his parents. Instead, when he arrived to the kitchen, he saw that the rest of his family were already at the kitchen table. They were all impatiently waiting for him, while a plate of eggs and bacon was out for each of them. Sorry, couldn't think of any Asian breakfast foods. Come on, Naruto, you're gonna cost us from eating your sister's birthday breakfast, said Kushina. Mito and Naruto both blinked in surprise because they didn't hear your or any mention of him. What do you mean by your sister's? Isn't it my too? I mean, it's my birthday too, declared a now slightly irritated Naruto. Kushina and Minato both almost jumped out of their chairs, completely now aware that they had forgot about Naruto. Oh my god, what a terrible parent am I. I totally forgot about my other son's birthday, and it's on the same day of Mito. Wait, what am I thinking, Mito's? OMG, I'm a terrible, do I say? Thought both of very nervous Kushina and Minato. Lucky Minato wasn't Hokage for nothing. Well, Naruto, what she means is that breakfast was dedicated to Mito here, while lunch will be dedicated to you, so you get to pick anything you want for lunch. Naruto looked at him and his mother, already completely figured them out. Though instead of blowing up like he usually did, thanks to Shisui's teaching of meditating, he just sighed and sat down, deciding to just play along to not completely ruin the day. Oh, okay, I guess that makes sense, said Naruto as he sat down and begun to eat. Mito also deciding to eat, totally buying the lie their parents had said, while both Kushina and Minato looked at each other with a ton of guilt, both now determined to make sure to make it up to him. After breakfast, Minato had quickly left to finish his Hokage business so he could come home early for today's birthday party, leaving Kushina, Naruto, and Mito alone at the table. So Naruto, what are you planning to do until your birthday party this afternoon? Asked the determined Kushina, wanting to make it up to him. Well, I was hoping to go see Shisui-sensei, replied Naruto. Why would you want to train on your birthday? I mean, don't you want to go play with your friends? Asked a puzzled Kushina. A now very embarrassed Naruto replied, well, you see, it's just that, mumbling the rest as he looked over at Mito. What did you say? Said Kushina as the look at Mito didn't go unnoticed. It's that I really don't have any other friends besides Shisui, said a now ashamed Naruto as he thought why this had happened. Flashback no jutsu. It has been the year during their 8th birthday. It had been the day that Naruto decided to pull prank on Mito, dyeing her hair red. Naruto, yelled an enraged Mito, as her hair was red, making her look just like her mom. I'm gonna kill you. Ha ha ha, look, it's Mini-Mom. Ha ha ha, laughed Naruto as he ran out of his house to the safety of Grandma Tsunade. This is pointless. He is so much faster than me. As well, that Tsunade will definitely protect him from my wrath. Ugh, I'll get you back one way or another, Naruto, thought Mito as she walked back to her room. Later at the birthday party, all the clan heads' kids had been invited, as well a few civilian friends of Mito and Naruto. The party had been going well. Parents were inside enjoying a few drinks, while the kids were outside waiting until cake and to open presents. That's when Mito decided to get her revenge. I'm pretty sure that everyone here would probably do anything I should, thought Mito as she plotted her revenge. Hey everyone, listen up. If you play with Naruto, you can't be my friend, announced Mito to all the kids. All the kids looked at each wondering if they should listen, but ending up doing exactly that. They thought that if they had to be either Naruto or Mito as a friend, it would be Mito because their parents said she was really important to the village. So of course almost everyone just went with it. I can't believe she just said that. Look at that, everyone is going along with it except Shikamaru and Choji, thought a shocked Naruto. So for the rest of the day, every time Naruto tried to play with someone, he was kicked out. I can't believe she would do this, thought Naruto as he went inside and locked himself in his room, telling his parents he was sick. Flashback, no jutsu release. Why wouldn't he having friends? I mean, he is the son of the 4th Hokage? Thought a now very intrigued Kushina. So she decided to ask, why don't you have any friends? Once again looking at Mito, as she was now paying attention to the conversation, realizing that she may in fact get in huge trouble if Naruto told her the truth. Naruto, of course being the kid, he was said, I don't know. I guess they just don't like me too much. Lied Naruto. It's not like I don't have friends, it's just none my age. Shisui, Kakashi, and Itachi are my friends. Seeing that Kushina wasn't satisfied with the answer, decided to run for it. Well, I'm gonna go by mom, see you later, said Naruto as he sprinted off. Mito just sighed in relief and left thinking, I can't believe that Naruto didn't rat me out. Why do I feel so guilty now? Clutching her heart, why didn't you just rat me out, Naruto? Of course this didn't go unnoticed by Kushina. What's going on here? What do you have to do with it, Mito? Well, I'll figure this out later, thought Kushina as she went on her way to finish up her chores for the birthday party later today. With Minato. Well, that's the last of it, signed Minato as he finished up his paperwork. Suddenly his family picture of him and his family caught his eye. Then he formed a smile, thinking how long it has been. I can't believe that my kids are already turning 9. Looking at Mito in the picture, Mito has surely grown in her training the past year. I truly believe that you are the one that Death spoke of. She definitely had inherited his looks, the blonde hair and bright blue eyes. Yet, she is just like Kushina, brash, dense, kind, loyal, and the temper. Suddenly Minato formed a sweat drop thinking about his daughter's aggressive temper. Then he looked at his son. If his red hair didn't make him stand out enough, his bright blue sea eyes with the hair definitely did. Ironically, he was the one with the 3 whiskers on each cheek. He kind of had a mixed personality of him and Kushina. He was smart and collective like him, kind and loyal like his mom. He was worried from the reaction he received. This knew that Naruto saw through his white lie. That isn't what had gotten Minato so worried. It was the fact that he didn't do anything about. Just simply let it go like it was nothing. Naruto, why do I feel like you're starting to push away from us? Is it cause I didn't personally look after your training? Pondered Minato. No, it can't be that. I heard he was very happy with Shisui as a sensei. No, it's cause I haven't been a great father towards him. Minato stood up from his desk and moved toward his window. As he looked out, he saw his whole village busy at work. From civilians working to get jobs done to some ninjas enjoying a good walk. Yes, Naruto, I'm gonna start spending more time with you. Starting by including you in training with your sister, thought Minato, believing he would bring his son back a bit more. I just hope you won't get too mad about tonight. With Naruto walking down the village. I can't believe they just forgot about me, thought Naruto as he slowly walked down the street toward the Uchiha compound. How could they forget that it was my birthday too? Do they not love me? This question was slowly eating away at Naruto. For a minute he wanted to say no. Of course not. It was just simply this one time. I bet it won't happen again. We just to see how tonight goes. If they give me a good thought-out gift, then that will prove it, thought Naruto as he passed a couple more shops. As he turned the corner, he arrived at the Uchiha front gates with the 2 guards. Hey, I came to see Shisui, exclaimed Naruto. We know, brat, you come here every day, replied one of the guards. Hey, I'm not a brat. Even if you do know, I still have to check in database, replied an annoyed Naruto. Whatever, brat, snickered the other guard, hoping to get a rise out of Naruto. Naruto replies, why, you son of. Better not finish that unless you want to run 100 laps around Konoha. brat, says Shisui as he walks up to the front gate. Sensei, I'm not a brat, Databeo, replies Naruto. I know, Naruto, just playing with you. Right, guys? Both guards nodded their heads and laughed, seeing how tormented the kid was. Come on, let's go to my house, I got something for you, says Shisui. All right, Sensei, let's go, responds Naruto, knowing he would receive a gift. Naruto and Shisui made their way towards Shisui's apartment in the Uchiha compound. Greeted by a few people on the they finally arrived, Shisui opened the door and let Naruto in. Wait here, Naruto, I'll be right back, said Shisui as he walks to his bedroom. Returning back. Here you go, Naruto, this my present to you, announced Shisui. Though before you open it, I have to tell you something, so listen up. Yes, sir, replied the excited Naruto. Shisui begins talking. Naruto, this is my present to you. What you're about to open is something that cost me lots of money. So take good care of it, okay? Seeing Naruto understood, he continued. The reason I'm giving you this is because I'm proud I made you my student. Even though you haven't done anything in the ninja world, you have proven to me that you are worthy of being a ninja. You have the traits of becoming a great ninja, and I'm sure you will be too. Though now I will no longer be able to train you as often as I did because I have decided to join A&BU. That doesn't mean I won't train you, it just won't be as daily as it is now. Seeing Naruto's sad face as Shisui decides to wrap up things. Naruto, you will now be joining the academy. Even though you may know most of what is expected there, I want you to stay all 3 years. Before you protest, yes, I know that you may have a chance to graduate a year early, but stay, it will do you good to stay with people your age. Don't want to turn out like Itachi, huh? Not allowing Naruto to say anything like Itachi is the best though. Don't worry though, after you graduate my A&BU time will be done, and I'll get a chance to train you again. Now open your gift, replied Shisui. Naruto could just simply nod. He couldn't believe that he would no longer get to train with his best friend as much anymore. He opened the gift he received to find a beautiful orange handle sword still in its sheath. He looked closer at the handle to see that there was an Uzumaki swirl on one side and a Konoha leaf on the other. When he took it out of the sheath, it had a beautiful black blade with an orange line cutting through it. Thanks, Shisui, don't you worry. When I come out of the academy, I will definitely look forward from learning from you again. As well, I will make this sword the most famous sword in the world, exclaimed a now excited Naruto. We'll see about that, brat. You better run along and get ready for tonight. I heard your parents were throwing a big yeah, and keep working on the wind chakra exercises, noted Shisui. All right, thanks for everything, Sensei, answers Naruto as he runs up to him and gives him a big hug right before he leaves. Party time. The backyard was filled with a bunch of children. There was lots of music and games. Though there was one kid who stuck out, and that was Naruto. He was simply just sitting on the side with Shikamaru and Choji. So Shika, Choji, you ready to join the academy next week, or what? Asked Naruto. What a drag. I really don't want to go, but it's better than being stuck with mom, replied the lazy Nara. Well, I'm very excited, Naruto. I really want to become a strong ninja, exclaimed Choji as he ate away at his chips. Suddenly, Kakashi popped out of nowhere. Yo, Kakashi said coolly. Kakashi, what's up? Did you come to the birthday party? Answered Naruto. Sorry, Naruto, I have a mission, and came over to give you this, said Kakashi as he handed Naruto a wrapped gift. Give me, remarked Naruto as he ripped open the present to find a mask and an orange book. What? Why did you give me this book, you pervert? He turns around to see Kakashi had already left. He looked at the book and the mask. It wouldn't hurt to read it, would it? Now let's just see what's it about. Completely forgetting about Shikamaru and Choji, he opened the book and begun to read it, blushing just after reading one random page. Now I know why Kakashi wears the mask, he thought Naruto as he looked at the mask. Suddenly Kushina had called in all the kids to eat cake and open presents. Of course, Naruto and Mito got to sit at the front of the table, while the rest of the parents and kids sat in front of them. After everyone devoured the delicious cake, presents were handed out. Mito and Naruto mostly received clothes and money from most of the civilian families. From the clan families, they received some ninja tools. Kushina had decided to start to teach both Naruto and Mito about sealing, so gave them a book over it too. Tsunade had decided to give both Naruto and Mito a book about medical ninja. Mikoto Uchiha decided to give Mito an Uchiha shirt, much to Sasuke's annoyance. while Itachi handed Naruto a wind scroll he had collected on one of his Kame Minato's gift. Alright, everyone listen up. Today I have decided to give both Mito and Naruto special gifts. As well make a big announcement. Announced Minato to the crowd, as he whips out a summoning scroll which he gives to both Mito and Naruto. I would like to give you guys the summoning scroll to the Toad contract. Naruto quickly runs up and starts writing his name in the scroll. I knew it. My parents would never forget about me. How this shows they love me too. As well toads beat crows. How take that Shisui. So dad, what are the hand signs for the summoning jutsu? Exclaimed Naruto, hoping to show off in front of the crowd. You see Naruto, I won't teach how to summon quite yet. Maybe after the academy, I'm just giving you the summoning scroll for now, replied Minato. Ugh, moaned Naruto, really wanting to know how to summon. Alright, now for my second announcement, exclaimed Minato. This suddenly got everyone's attention, wondering what this second announcement could be about. Many of you know the Namikaze is actually a cousin clan to the Uchiha. Minato looked down, seeing some of the Uchiha smirking, knowing well that the Yellow Flash was actually a cousin of the Uchiha. Well, today I have decided to announce Mito as the official heir of the clan. Many looked at him at shock, not because of the announcement, but because in reality the heir of the clan was always the oldest. In this family, it was Naruto Namikaze. Kushina looked shocked, not believing Minato would actually do something like this without her approval. Mito didn't know what to think. Everyone else was a bit taken back, but many of the clan heads understood. If the eldest didn't show promise, then the next kid would take over. Thought that really wasn't the case here. Naruto was even more shocked, not believing his own birthright was stolen from him. Of course Naruto wasn't gonna let this slide. What do you mean Mito is the heiress? Fired Naruto. That's my birthright. Not hers. Naruto just she shows lots of promise as a ninja. Exclaimed Minato. Didn't think he would get this mad. I mean, he has always been so quiet and calm about things. And I don't. Ask Shisui. He says I show lots of promise too. Yelled Naruto. I'm not saying you don't show promise, it's just. Minato couldn't finish as Naruto ran out crying, covering his eyes. That I can't believe he did that. And this pain in my eyes. Minato, I don't believe that was wise of you. I mean, I understand you wanted to give Mito the title, but shouldn't you have told Naruto beforehand? Suggested Shikakanara. As well, isn't a bit early to be naming heirs? Many of the people in the crowd started agreeing with Shikaku. And why didn't you tell me beforehand? Asked a now irritated Kushina. Well, you see, I wanted it to be a surprise. Stuttered Minato. I jumped the gun, didn't I? Of course you did. I can't believe you did that to your own son, oh great fourth. Jumped in Tsunade, very angry at what she just saw. Well, maybe I should go talk to him? Asked Minato, starting to feel the guilt. I didn't mean to hurt Naruto's feelings. I just wanted to motivate Mito more by naming her clan. I shouldn't have done this. Don't. Let him cool off. Shisui already went after him, stated Itachi as he walked away, feeling a bit irritated with the Hokage. Naruto and Shisui. I can't believe they did that to me. And in front of everyone. Thought Naruto as he ran to the lake in the park. I thought they loved me. As Naruto stood there weeping, he couldn't shrug off the pain in his eyes. And this pain, my eyes, they feel like they are on fire. Suddenly Shisui appeared in his signature body flicker technique. Hey Naruto, are you ALR? As Shisui looked at Naruto's eyes, he was beyond shocked. Teach. The Sharingan. As he stared into his eyes, now bloodshot red with one tomo in the left eye and two tomo in the right. Naruto stopped weeping, seeing that Shisui was obviously in shock. What's wrong, Shisui? Naruto, look into the reflection of the lake. Commanded Shisui. Naruto, doing just that, took the same face that Shisui had just moments ago. Well, this just got very interesting. Thought Shisui. Suddenly Shisui appeared in his signature body flicker technique. Hey Naruto, are you ALR? As Shisui looked at Naruto's eyes, he was beyond shocked. Teach. Sharingan. As he stared into his eyes, now bloodshot red with one tomo in the left eye and two tomo in the right. Naruto stopped weeping, seeing that Shisui was obviously in shock. What's wrong, Shisui? Naruto, look into the reflection of the lake. Commanded Shisui. Naruto, doing just that, took the same face that Shisui had just moments ago. Well, this just got very interesting. Thought Shisui. 1 year and 6 months later. Two figures were racing in the treelines just outside of Konoha. Both of them had spiky hair, yet the taller one's was black as night, while the younger one was red as blood. The taller one was wearing a traditional Umbu outfit with an Uchiha symbol on the back. The short one was wearing a black and orange Uzumaki outfit, Shippuden outfit. Yet what made them pop out the most was those red eyes of theirs. Yes, these two were no other than Naruto and Shisui. It had been a year and 6 months since Naruto's 9th birthday. Many things had happened that day. Whether it was for the good or bad, only time will tell. Though what thing it did was activate Naruto's Sharingan. Now he had been able to activate the second Tomo in his left eye. Shisui had thought best to keep this a secret from everyone else, since he knew of people who were after the power of the Sharingan and would do anything to get it Danzo He decided to continue to train Naruto just like he had been doing, except now he could teach him his Sharingan tricks. As well, he told Naruto that if he ever wanted, he could tell his parents, though Naruto decided to keep it to himself. So, now we're here with Naruto and Shisui racing through the treetops. Suddenly, Shisui pulls out several kunai and throws them at Naruto. Naruto quickly dodged or blocked those thrown at him. Not allowing him time to think, Shisui engages him in taijutsu. Shisui easily forces Naruto into defense. Crap, I can't beat Shisui in taijutsu. I need to get some distance, thought Naruto as he tried to get as much distance as possible, though Shisui won't let him have it, knowing exactly what he was trying to do. Though Naruto had tricks up his own sleeve. Pulling out a smoke bomb, he exploded it, blinding him both and Shisui. Shisui, believing Naruto would try to get some distance this way, jumped out of the smoke. Though that's exactly what Naruto was hoping, he didn't jump out of the where Shisui jumped. He used a widespread jutsu to force him right where he wanted him. Covered by the smoke, he started to wield some hand signs. Wind release, vacuum sphere. As Shisui jumped out of the smoke, he looked around for Naruto. Where'd he go? Though at the corner of his eye, he was able to catch the small blasts of wind chakra shot at him. Not bad, Naruto. Use the smoke screen to force me out, while you stay in, and indeed. Though not clever enough, thought Shisui as he easily dodged the attack and landed on a branch. Though as soon as he landed, a wire was set off. The trap tied Shisui to the tree. Naruto, seeing his plan had worked, he jumped out of the smoke, and near the tree where Shisui was. I win, sensei, exclaimed Naruto, finally able to trap Shisui. So, you made this trap while we were engaged in taijutsu, correct? Seeing Naruto nod, he continued. As well, the smoke was to force me out into the using wide-range attack to force right onto this branch. Naruto just grinned, though suddenly, so did Shisui. Too bad I saw right through it. Then suddenly Naruto saw black, and what looked like 2 pairs of Sharingan eyes. As soon as it disappeared, he realized he was the one tied to the tree. What? But how? Genjutsu. This genjutsu allows you to manipulate the enemy into doing what they want to do to you. As well, you can turn someone else's genjutsu against them. Though usually it takes some hand signs and the opponent to look into the user's Sharingan. Though I've mastered it to the point where I don't need hand signs. It's called the Sharingan Mirage Genjutsu. Grinned Shisui. The moment before you set the smoke, I caught you under it, making you jump out of the smoke. Then I simply threw some shuriken and made you dodge. To the plan would have worked if it was anyone else. Naruto just stared at awe. He couldn't believe how powerful that genjutsu enough that his Sharingan didn't detect. He only had 2 tomo. Will I be learning that? Asked Naruto. Yeah, of course. The reason I showed you it was because I would be teaching it to you tomorrow, exclaimed Shisui as he untied Naruto. Dang it, sensei. I thought I had you this time, Databeo, cried out Naruto. Naruto, take it easy, I'm an Umbu. It take years before you catch up, responded Shisui, though seeing he wasn't completely satisfied. As well, that was some high Genin level strategy right there. I mean, I don't think even some Chunin could think that off, praised Shisui. Naruto just looked up and smiled. You're right, Shisui. How about some ramen? I'm sorry I can't, Naruto. Gotta get back to some. Here is some money. Go get yourself some. See you tomorrow. They'll come early since you're gonna learn that, yeah, and stop skipping classes, explained Shisui as he disappeared in his usual body flicker technique. Whatever. Ichiraku ramen, here I come, exclaimed Naruto as he left in his own body flicker technique, which consisted of a swirl of leaves. Ichiraku ramen stand. Naruto appeared right outside of the stand. Quickly going in, he sat down and as usual was two people in the back. An aged man and his young daughter, no older than 15. "Old man, get me 2 bowls of miso ramen," exclaimed Naruto. "You got it, Naruto. I am get me 2 bowls for our favorite customer," shouted out Tucci. "Got it, Dad," responded I am. Suddenly, 2 blonde-haired girls walked in the stand. Naruto, not even bothering to look around, didn't know that it was her sister Mito and her best friend Ino. "You know, Naruto, you really shouldn't be eating so much ramen. It's quite unhealthy," pointed out Mito. While Ino says, "Yeah, should be more like Sasuke. I'm sure he doesn't eat so much ramen." Naruto just sighed and had been trying to be nicer to his sister since Shisui had asked him to. Flashback, no jutsu. It had been a few days after his birthday. Just 2 days ago, Shisui had picked up his training after the academy at full speed. After the academy, Naruto would come here for 2 hours. First hour would be spent on perfecting the basics, such as chakra control, elemental control, and wielding his weapons, such as the blade he hadn't been able to name. Then the next hour they would work on taijutsu, ninjutsu, jinjutsu, and the Sharingan. Though it was more with the Sharingan than anything else. Though today was the day Shisui decided to give Naruto a talk. He's been getting a lot colder since what happened at his birthday. I need to snap him out of it before he does something stupid, thought Shisui. "Hey Naruto, we need to talk," stated Shisui. "What is it, sensei?" asked Naruto. "Cut it out, or I'll stop teaching you. This isn't the student I wanted to teach a few weeks ago," said Shisui, crossing his arms. "Cut out what?" asked again Naruto, now a bit more concerned. "Stop being such a brooder. Drop it, Naruto. Forget what happened. If you continue the way you are, you're just gonna regret everything you and forget," said Shisui. "But Shisui, you just don't understand. You have no idea how it feel like to always be overlooked, simply ignored for your sister, even though you try so hard to get their attention. You have no idea. I mean, I don't care about being the heir. It's just because they ignored me again," yelled back Naruto. Shisui just pinched his nose. "Yes, Naruto, in fact I do." Naruto just stared at him confusedly. "What do you mean?" "You know Itachi, right?" "Well, Itachi has always been considered a genius like no other, even in the Uchiha clan. Well, as young children my parents had always asked why I couldn't be more like him. It infuriated me to no end," exclaimed Shisui as he shut his eyes, then opening them. "So, that day, instead of resenting my parents and Itachi, I set a goal to be better than him. To show everyone I was Shisui Uchiha, not the cousin of Itachi. To this day, I have worked my butt, and I have even surpassed him." With that, Shisui closed his eyes and reopened them to show Naruto what looked like a 4-pointed shuriken. "What is that, Shisui?" asked Naruto. He had never seen this from his sensei before. "This, Naruto, is the highest level of the Sharingan, the Mangekyo Sharingan. With this eyes, I can achieve visual prowess behind the normal Sharingan. Though I won't show you because it's kind of a double-edged sword. I have Jinjutsu special to only these types of eyes. A Jinjutsu known as Kotoamatsukami. With this Jinjutsu, I can implant false memories into one's brain and manipulate them however I want. Another one would be Tsukuyami, the most powerful Jinjutsu known to man. With this, I can trap one into an unbreakable Jinjutsu in which I control everything for 48 hours, when in reality, it would only be 3 seconds. This something not achieved since Madara and Izuna Uchiha. Though there is more than just Jinjutsu," explained Shisui. Naruto just stood in awe. A Jinjutsu that controls another person, space, and time itself, still has more abilities? "But how do you achieve these abilities?" asked Naruto. Shisui just sighed. "There is 2 ways and one may unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan. The first and most common way would be to kill the closest person to you." The wind blowed loud, as an eerie silence took over both of them. "Of course there is a second way. The way I took. That is to train you to the point where it naturally evolves to the Mangekyo Sharingan. Though as I mentioned it is a double-edged sword. The more I use it, the closer I come to losing my sight, until I'm completely become blind." "Wow, Shisui, I'm sorry I didn't know. As well, how come I've never heard of the Mangekyo Sharingan if it's so powerful?" asked Naruto. "Well, you see, Naruto, there's reason it isn't known. The reason is because the Mangekyo Sharingan is very difficult to achieve. Only maybe 5 people before me have actually activated it. As well, I'm probably the only one who has achieved it through hard work alone. Everyone else has activated it by killing the closest person they have, replied Shisui. That's why it's a clan secret. If everyone knew, there would be clansmen killing left and right. I see, but why are you telling me this? Asked Naruto. It's because I want you to completely forgive your parents. I understand how it feels to be overlooked. Though don't allow to turn into a shallow person. You still have Tsunade, Kakashi, Itachi, me, and many other people, right? You should even include your parents because one day you will show them who Naruto is. In fact, once you graduate, you really don't have to be a Namikaze. You can change your surname to Uzumaki, a clan of friendship. That's why I put its symbol on your sword, said Shisui, pointing to his orange-handled sword. Naruto's eyes just widened. You're right, Shisui. I'm not just the Hokage's son or Mito's brother. I'm the Naruto Nano Uzumaki. And I'll be the second person ever to unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan with sheer effort alone. Then I'll show every databao. Good. Then stop being so cold to your family. I don't expect you to be friends with your parents, but actually respond to them nicely. As for your sister, try to be friends with her. I mean, it really isn't her fault. She probably didn't even know about the whole heiress thing. Finished Shisui. Yes, sir, said Naruto. Shisui's right. I should at least show some manners. As well, I guess he has point about Mito. Shisui just gave Naruto a smile. Naruto, I believe that you can achieve greatness beyond those of Madara, yet instead be more like Hiroshima. The reason is because if my research is correct, once you unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan, you won't suffer the curse. You won't need a transplant to achieve eternal light, because Naruto, you hold both Senju and Uchiha blood. It will be need for the times ahead. Suddenly, Shisui's smile faded. He watched Naruto begun his warm-ups, especially if the clan goes ahead with the coup d'etat. As well, that oranged mask guy Itachi encountered lurking around. He seems a man that will become very dangerous. I just hope you're strong enough to endure it, if I'm not around. Sadly, thought Shisui. Flashback, no jutsu release. Even though he has had some success with his sister, he really didn't like some of her friends, especially Ino. Even though she has shown some traits he likes, like loyalty to a friend. She was so bossy and obsessed with Sasuke. He thought Sasuke was okay, just not a god. Whatever, I can still beat him in a spar, said Naruto, hoping to get a rise out of Ino. Mito just sighed. Even though she was grateful Naruto was talking to her more, she still couldn't stand his prankster ways. Whatever, Naruto, you're such a loser, screamed Ino. Did you say something, Ino? Coolly replied Naruto. Kakashi would be proud. Ino just fell on her face, and Mito just sweat dropped. So Mito wants some ramen. Shisui gave me some extra money today, asked Naruto. No, I just passed by to tell you not to eat so much. Let's go, Ino. We should meet up with Hinata. Answered, quickly recovered, and gave Naruto a glare. With that, the two blonde-haired friends left. Naruto just sighed. Even though he really hated Ino, he wished he had a friend like that. Friends that were always by your side. Even though Shisui was his best friend, he was always on missions. As well, he was like 5 years older. Naruto just finished his food and went home. He really felt lonely. Next day, Naruto was walking home. He had just finished the academy for the day. Even though Shisui told him to be there early, he was in no rush to get home. Today, he decided to pull a prank on his unfavorite teacher Mizuki. Naruto didn't know why, he just didn't get good vibes from him. He was always staring at his sister like she was a prize. Even though he didn't entirely love Mito, that doesn't mean he was going to let some guy stare at her. Yes, he had sent him packing to hospital. His prank had consisted of paint balloons, and Ninja had tripped him up and sent him head first into the wall. Knocked out conscious, the class was dismissed early except for Naruto, who had been punished by scrubbing off the paint in the room. If his mom found out, he was so getting yelled at again. He continued to walk. He was on the edge of there was a trail right through the middle of the small area of trees. As he walked his way through, he heard some commotion. Deciding to check things out, he headed to see what it was. As he checked it out, he noticed it was 3 bullies surrounding a kneeling girl with lavender hair. As he took a closer look, he noticed it was one of Mito's friends, Haida, Tinta, Hinata. That's it. Having had enough of this, he decided to intervene. As soon as the bullies tried to throw a punch, he quickly got in front of it and caught it. Don't you think it's a little rude to pick on a lady? Asked Naruto. What's it to you? Asked one of the bullies. Who are you anyways? Hey guys, it's Mito's brother. My mother said he was the loser son of the Hokage. Stated one. What you gonna do tell your dad, the Hokage? Taunted one of the bullies. A tick mark appeared on his forehead. He couldn't believe people were saying he was loser. I beat you all to the ground, Databeo. I'll show you the only losers here are you cowards. Whatever, just don't go tell your daddy. Taunted one. Yeah, Brad, it's 3-on-1 anyways, added the other one. Whatever, fine by me. By the way, the name's not Brad or Hokage's son, it's Naruto. Naruto, Uzumaki Databeo. Declared Naruto. With that, Naruto engaged the bullies. It was totally one-sided as Naruto was able to knock them out and tie them to some tree. As he finished that up, he walked up to the girl. So, your name's Hinata, right? Asked Naruto. Yes, you're Naruto, right? But I thought your last name was Namikaze? Asked Hinata. Well, yeah, but once I graduate, I'm gonna change it to Uzumaki. Cause the Uzumaki clan was known for its friendship with the leaf. Claimed Naruto. Why wouldn't you want to be Namikaze? Asked Hinata, clearly confused. Well, you see, Hinata, I just hate being known as the Hokage's kid or just Mito's. I'm going to make a name for myself. I'm going to show everyone that I'm the Naruto Uzumaki. As well, I really just don't want the last name gave away my spot, as air cause I wasn't worthy enough to be it. So I'm going to show everyone that I won't let that stop me from being the best Databeo. Replied Naruto. Well, take care, Hinata. See you tomorrow at the academy. With that, Naruto just jumped to the trees and body flickered home. Hinata just stood there still a bit shocked. He just like me. A person believed to be unfit to be a heir. Yet he is still strong, willing to go against the tides. Naruto, you're nothing like your sister describes you. Standing up, Hinata made her way home. Naruto, you've inspired me to do my best too. Naruto Uzumaki, that has a nice tone to it. Hinata Uzumaki, with that final though, she gave a really big blush. Though she quickly dismissed it because she didn't want to be an obsessed fangirl. No, she wanted to prove her worth just like Naruto. Namikaze's household. Kushina and Mito stood in the kitchen. Mito was sitting at the kitchen table while her mother was cooking some lunch. That's when Naruto appeared in a whirl of leaves. Naruto, you're home. I wish could really stop using that leaf shunshin. Sweetly smiled Kushina. For anyone that knew Kushina, that wasn't the smile you wanted to receive. Yes, mother. Replied Naruto, why do I have the scariest mom? Red Death. More like the death god itself. Hello, Naruto. Said Mito. She was just sitting there reading some book. Hello, Mito, replied Naruto. With that, Naruto went toward his room, and picking up his gear, he walked back to kitchen. As he was about to reach the door. Naruto, aren't you gonna eat with us? Asked Kushina. He's still a little cold towards us. In fact, he hardly ever eats with us. At least he gets along with Mito. No, I'm not going to eat. I'm heading to train with Shisui. He said he was going to teach me something new, and I should get there early. Responded Naruto. Naruto, you don't always have to be training. You should sit down and eat with us. I know Shisui can only train you certain hours, but your father and I could train you when he isn't around. Said Kushina. Please come around, Naruto. You have no idea how much this is hurting me. No, there is things only Shisui can teach me, what you can't. As well, I really wouldn't want any training from Dad. Maybe you, but not Dad. Replied Naruto. Kushina felt a bit relieved, but irritated at the same time. At least he has opened up to me a bit. Though I really wish he could forgive his. Does he mean only Shisui can teach him? I was jonin' for a long time. That brat just started Boo. What's so special about Shisui? I understand he's talented, but what is it that only he can only teach you? I mean, both your father and I are much more experienced than could he possibly teach you that we couldn't? Questioned Kushina. Naruto just sighed out. If I continue this talk, I'm going to end up having to train with as well. Get her off my back. He walked towards the door and opened it. Though before he stepped through, he replied, Shisui is my friend. That's what makes the training worth it. Training with my best friend. As well for the reason he can teach me, and you can't. Naruto turned around with his eyes wide open, revealing his Sharingan, 2 tomo in each eye. With that done, Naruto walked out the house. Kushina just stood there in shock, trying to process everything that just happened. Sharingan. How? When? Why didn't he tell us? I didn't think a Namikaze could actually awaken it. Mito, honey, I'll be right back. I'm going to go talk with your father, shouted Kushina. Mito hadn't been paying attention to what occurred, but if she had, she probably wouldn't have been able to reply, Okay, Mom. Many hours later in Hokage's office, Minato just sat in his office. Finally, catching up on today's tensions got high. So did this pile of paperwork. He was really sick of it. He couldn't imagine how the third could have done it for so long. What made it so much worse was the fact that his wife came storming and demanding to talk with him. At first, she accused him of not telling her about his son unlocking the Sharingan. At first, he thought she was just joking because no one had been able to unlock it in the Namikaze clan since the beginning of Konoha. After a bit talking and calming her down, they both realized that they both were never aware of how or when he unlocked it. So Minato just sent her home and told her he would find out. He, of course, knew only one person who could answer all his questions, Shisui Uchiha. He would have to know. That's what Naruto had told. Now he sat and waited. He wanted to call him immediately, but he didn't want to make things worse with his son. Now that we're talking about his son, things between Naruto and Minato weren't the best. The week following his birthday, he had completely stopped talking to Minato. Though after that week he started to open up, but only when he was called upon. As well, he had completely denied all attempts of training with Minato. It really saddened Minato. He knew he deserved what he was getting, yet he just wanted his son to forgive him. He wondered if this is how the third felt with his son Asuma years ago. Suddenly, an Umbu with a crow mask appeared. "Hokage, you called me?" "Yes, Crow, though I need you to take off your mask," asked Minato. As Crow took off his mask, it was revealed to be Shisui. "Hokage, have you called me here because of the coup d'etat? I think it would be wise to get Itachi here too. He probably has more intel." "Yes, Itachi will be coming. Though I called you sooner because I need to talk about Naruto," replied the fourth. Shisui just looked at him curiously. "What about him do you want to talk about?" "Why wasn't I aware that he had unlocked the Sharingan?" demanded Minato. Shisui just looked at him and took a long sigh. So Naruto finally told him. "Well, I told Naruto to keep it a secret since he didn't have the protection of the clan. Not having the protection would tempt others to possibly steal it," that replied Shisui. "Why keep it a secret from us too? I mean, we're his parents," shouted Minato. Shisui just waited for him to calm down and responded. "I told him he could tell only his parents if he wished to. He decided not to. Why he didn't tell you? I don't know. You just have to ask him." Minato just sat back down. "Sorry, Shisui. I just let my emotions get the best of how tense things have been lately." "It's all right, sir," replied Shisui. "So now if I can ask a favor." Suddenly Minato was cut off by his secretary who walked in the room. "Sir, the elders and the Umbu member you requested are waiting in the meeting room." Minato just nodded. "I guess we have to finish this some other esco. The current situation is much more important than this at the moment. Though I expect you to answer my questions afterwards." "All right, let's go," said Shisui. With that, Shisui and the fourth Hokage made their way to the meeting room. Meeting room. The four elders, Hiruzen, Danzo, Hamura, Kohara, the fourth Hokage sat at a desk. In front of them stood two kneeling Umbu, Shisui and Itachi. Itachi and Shisui had just finished giving them the whole scoop of the coup d'etat. "So, that's the last of it. They plan to commence the attack tomorrow?" asked former Hokage, just pinched his nose. "If the Uchiha are planning this coup d'etat, I believe the only way to resolve this is to label them as traitors," offered Hamura. "Yes, it's too late not to judge them. We must act now before it's too late," pitched in Kohara. "If we join up with EMBU Black's Ops, it shouldn't be too hard, though we would also have to take out all the children," concluded Danzo, though he really wanted to get rid of the Uchiha for his own reasons. "Enough. We shouldn't be talking about the Uchiha like this in front of Shisui and Itachi," demanded the third. Shisui and Itachi just kneeled there, showing no emotion, though the both had a billion thoughts going through their heads. Suddenly, the talking ceased, and the elders just looked at Minato, looking for an answer. "So what will it be, Minato?" asked Danzo. Minato just sighed. He couldn't believe that his cousin clan was thinking about revolting. "If I don't take care of this problem, it could very well start the fourth great ninja war." "Shisui, you said you had a jinjutsu that could temporarily control one, right?" asked Minato. Shisui just nodded his head. "All right, I want you to use this jinjutsu to buy me some time. Just one day would be enough. I'm going to try to reach a compromise with the Uchiha first." "Start your mission." Dismissed, both of well with this meeting, finished Minato as he got up and walked out. As well, both Shisui and Itachi left. Meanwhile, Danzo had secretly signaled his route to commence their own operations, then made his way to go find Itachi. As he left the room, a little smirk left his face. If everything goes right, I won't just have a Mangekyo Sharingan, but also all the Sharingan left in the wreckage. Many hours later, Naruto was peacefully sleeping in his room, when suddenly the peace of the night was disturbed by the pecking of a window. As Naruto slowly woke up, what could be making this noise? Though looking up to his window, he noticed a black crow with a scroll in its beak. Shisui-sensei's summoning crow? What's it doing here? Opening the window, he allowed the crow to fly into his room. The crow took a lap around his room and landed onto his shoulder. Naruto reached for the scroll and opening it up. Dear Naruto, meet me at the cliff right outside Training Ground 31. Come alone with your ninja gear and make sure you're not followed. As well, bring the crow with you. You'll need it. Shisui. Wonder what's this for? Naruto pondered for an answer and couldn't come up with anything. Putting on his gear, he grabbed a pillow and placed a transformation on it, quickly jumping out the window. At the cliff, Naruto quietly arrived at the cliff. It had taken him a while, since he had run into an ANBU a while of running around. He had finally gotten around. As he arrived to the scene, he saw there was no one here. Looking around, he noticed that he actually was alone. Closing his eyes, he allowed his thoughts to take over. Wonder what's up with Shisui. He was a bit jittery today. As well, he is never late. Suddenly, he heard a branch twitch. Quickly opening his eyes and activating his Sharingan, he turned around to see a barrage of kunai. Quickly using his eyes to his advantage, he grabbed the lead kunai and proceeded to dodge and block the rest. Suddenly, the man attacking him appeared and tried to go for a killing blow. Naruto quickly dodged and knocked him backwards. Now that Naruto had a better look, the man was bloody and had a plain ANBU mask on. Quickly deciding to end this, Naruto reached for his own kunai and chucked it at him. Unsheathing his sword, he was able to add wind and engaged him in Kenjutsu. After a while of fighting, Naruto cast Genjutsu on his sword. He made the sword look faster than it actually was. Naruto quickly got the advantage, then stabbing him through a vital spot in the stomach. As he looked into the eyes of the mask, he noted one of his eyes were missing. As well, the single black eye looked quite familiar. Pulling out the sword, the person coughed and stumbled back into a tree. He was just sitting at the tree as blood poured out of his. Didn't think it was possible, but he looked worse than feeling a bit sick. He still proceeded to question the man. Who are you? Why did you attack me? How did you know I would be here? Asked Naruto. I hope Shisui wasn't taken down by him. By the looks of it, this man looks like he has already been through one battle. The man just continued to cough and sat there. Naruto having enough, he reached for his mask. If you won't talk, I'll just unmask you here and now. As Naruto took off his mask, it revealed to be a man missing his left eye. As Naruto took a closer look, he stumbled back, eyes filled with shock. His hand shaking. Teachers. No, wait, Shisui, buty? Shisui just looked at Naruto impassively. I had to. Asterisk cough asterisk. Test you to make sure you could go through with killing. I probably won't be around. As you can see, my left eye is gone. Naruto just stood there in shock. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was you. Shisui, we can get you to Tsunade to save you. She can save you. She's the best. Don't worry, just rest. No, it's too late. You need to know the truth. Wheezed Shisui. Naruto begun to let tears fall out. He couldn't believe he had just stabbed his best friend. You need to know what happened to me. Naruto just stood there, face completely in shock, and tears pouring. He still managed to nod. Shisui, seeing this, started his story. Naruto, you have to know that the Uchiha clan was planning a coup d'etat. But why? The Uchiha clan had always been respected in the village. Asked Naruto. Things aren't always as they seem. They weren't liking the way they were being. Many blamed them for the attack on the Nine Tails 10.5 years ago. They were blamed since an orange-masked Uchiha claiming to be Madara was behind it, replied Shisui. What? But father said it was a natural disaster. That childbirth had weakened Mother's seal and had allowed half of the Nine Tails' power to escape, stated Naruto. That wasn't the truth. That what was told to the civilians. To the ninja, everyone was told that an orange-masked Uchiha claiming to be Madara was behind it, replied Shisui. Now stop asking questions and allow me to finish. I don't have much time. Naruto just nodded and let him continue. So anyways, me and Itachi acted as double agents for the Leaf. We were ordered by the Uchiha clan to join ANBU and spy for them. Though in reality, we were spying for the Leaf *Cough star. Anyways, the coup d'etat was planned to go tomorrow. So the fourth asked me to use the Mangekyo to buy him more time to come with a compromise. Naruto's eyes widened at the mention of his father. Did father do this? Shisui, seeing his reaction. No, Naruto, it wasn't your father who did this to me. It was a man known as Danzo Shimura. I was ordered to use Kotoame Tsukumi to buy more time for the fourth. On my way to Uchiha clan, Danzo, one of the elders, attacked me. He believed that I couldn't be trusted and tried to steal my eyes. As you see, he stole my left eye, though I got away in time. After I was able to get away and meet up with Itachi. Since I couldn't use the Jinjutsu anymore without raising suspicion, I found out Itachi was ordered to massacre the clan by he allowed the children below the age of 11 to live. Since they weren't officially part of the clan, they still weren't ninjas. Still, the number is no more than 20 of the 120. This was only guaranteed if Itachi took complete blame and left to become a rogue ninja. Then he would join any mercenary groups that may pose a threat. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. Massacre the Uchiha clan. Father would never allow it. Even if he is ignorant, he would never kill his own blood. What? Father would never allow this. Naruto, you don't understand. If the coup d'etat would have happened, then it would have started a civil war. If a civil war occurred, many nations would try to invade Konoha, thus starting the fourth great ninja, causing meaningless death once again. Thankfully, Itachi was allowed to let all the children under the age of 11 live. Finished Shisui as his right eye slowly closed more. What about you? I mean, you helped the Leaf. Screamed Naruto. Naruto, the moment Danzo stole my eye, I was as good as dead. If I return, he would kill me to hide the truth. As well, I have no proof, it was my word against his. He is the man I warned you about. The man that would try to steal your eyes because you weren't part of the clan. Explained Shisui. Naruto's breathing got heavier and heavier. He just couldn't handle all this information at once. But-why, ddd. Why will you have me stab you? Why? Asked Naruto, clutching his eyes. It was cough. I would rather die at your hands than my own. Shisui coughed, proceeding to move his hand towards his right eye. He yanked out his last eye. Then, grabbing the bird, he begun to transplant his last eye into the bird. Yes, well, I only trust you with my last eye. With that, Shisui formed a hand sign and pressed it on Naruto's left arm. This is a summoning. You have to do is swipe some blood on it and use the summoning technique with your left hand, since you already have one with your right. The crows have agreed to this, so don't worry. This is where I'll place the crow with my right eye. I guess this is it, Naruto. Slowly standing up, Shisui proceeded to get to the hole in his stomach. Take care of the next generation of the Uchiha. Naruto. As well, you can never let anyone know the truth. Do it for the village's sake, in the name of the Uchiha. The reason me and Itachi did this is so the Uchiha clan name wouldn't be tainted. We wanted the next generation to believe that the Uchiha clan was a proud clan. Please look after them, since many will be left all alone. Proceeding to walk away, he stopped. You're actually fortunate that I told you the truth. I'm pretty sure Itachi lied to his brother, making him direct all his hate towards him. Cough, though I believe that you're stronger than that. That's why I told you the truth. Don't hate your dad, or there was a choice that had to be made. Just don't trust Danzo. Shisui turns around. Naruto, I believe that you are a person that will change this world for the better. You have the blood of both the Uchiha and Senju. Cough. You are destined for greatness. If you ever unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan, head towards the Nakra shrine hidden in the Uchiha compound. Pulling out a scroll, he opened it and unsealed it, showing an even bigger it back. He handed it to Naruto. And here are many of my jutsus, as well a jutsu to open the shrine. Become strong, Naruto. The future will only get worse from now on. Remember the orange-masked man. He is still at large and is plotting something bad. Suddenly, Shisui begun to cough really hard, and blood begun to drip out of his mouth. I've run out of time, cough. I guess this is the end of the road for me, Naruto. In all honesty, Naruto, you were like a little brother to me. Remember, I will always love you like one too. With those final words, Shisui left with his body flicker technique. Naruto stopped shaking, clutching the scroll in his hands. Putting it away into his pouch, he looked at the spot Shisui was just eyes were bulging out of his sockets. Little veins all heading towards the center of his eyes. Unaware to Naruto, the third tomo appeared in his eyes. Suddenly, a memory appeared in the back of his brain. Flashback no jutsu. Hey, Shisui, teach me a new element, please, asked Naruto. Naruto, you first should completely master wind before you tackle anything else. It's only natural since you're only in the academy, replied Shisui. Before Naruto could retort, and no, Naruto, you may not graduate early. I already told you try to make more friends besides Shikamaru and Choji. It'll do you good. Naruto just pouted, you don't think I try. Everyone just cares about Mito. Some just become my friend to get to her. Shisui just sighed and had Naruto sit down with him. Let me tell you a story, Naruto. Naruto just pouted more. I want to learn a new element, not hear some story. You'll like it. It's about how ninjutsu was started. Not many people know the truth about it, replied Shisui. Naruto just looked curiously at Shisui. How ninjutsu started? Fine, you have piqued my interest, stated Naruto. Shisui just smirked. Alright, as you know, there are 9-tailed beasts in the world, right? Seeing Naruto nod, he continued. Well, there was once a time when all the beasts were emerged and created the 10 tails. Naruto just looked at Shisui in fear. 10 tails. Wow, that's impossible. Who could be strong enough to split it into 9 beasts? Or did the beasts simply just not want to work together? Shisui replied, let me continue. This beast was so powerful that it was believed that he ruled the world. Though just like every story there is hero, a man known as the Rakudu Sannin, the sage of the 6th paths, was able to stop the beast with his special dojutsu. A dojutsu only seen in this man. The most powerful dojutsu in the world. It was known as the Rinnegan. With the Rinnegan, he defeated the beast and became its Jinchuriki, then bringing peace with the land. Naruto just stared at awe. Amazing, the Rinnegan. Was it that powerful? Shisui just nodded. Yes, but this isn't the end of the story. You see, this man later went on to have 2 sons. The older son received the spiritual energy of the sage, while his younger brother received the physical strength. The older brother received a dojutsu, though it wasn't the Rinnegan. The younger brother received the strength and chakra of his father. The older one valued nothing but power, while the younger one valued peace. He believed by working together could you achieve this. Of course, when the father sensed he would die, he believed that his younger son's view on the world was similar to he was troubled with his other son's view. Therefore, he named him his heir. Of course, this didn't go well with the older brother, thus creating a huge rift between the two. Thus, the older brother created the Uchiha clan and the younger the Senju. This was the start of the rivalry of the Senju and Uchiha clan. Naruto just stared at him. Wow, I didn't know that's how it all started, but that's not all of it, is it? Shisui smiled, sharp as always. The father before he died split the 10 tails into 9 beasts. He entrusted the beasts the world. Though as you know, it didn't end up well for the beasts. As he didn't just do that. Seeing the rift he created between his sons, he decided to stop the Rinnegan to emerge in either of them. He had used the last of his powers to only allow the Rinnegan to re-emerge in the eyes of a Senju and Uchiha child. Even though Naruto was very interested, he still couldn't help but ask, why are you telling me this? Shisui replies, well, you see, Naruto, I'm telling you this because you can only be strong when you have the friends to back you up. That is the will of fire. The same will that the sage of the 6 paths believed in. That's why I don't want you to graduate early. Naruto just looked at Shisui, still not convinced. I don't know. Though that isn't the only reason. As you know, the child that will reawaken it in a time of great chaos. Thus, he will be the one to stop all the chaos and finally bring peace to all the land. You want to know what, Naruto? I believe you could possibly be this child. Naruto's eyes suddenly went wide. Then suddenly he let a tear out. I don't think that will happen, Shisui. I appreciate it, but that's silly. Not even my parents can recognize me. How can I save the world? Shisui just chuckled. That may be true, Naruto, but I believe you can overcome that. I believe you can do what the eldest of the sage couldn't. That is to forgive his family. Naruto stopped the tears. Thanks, Shisui, I don't know what to say. Though I doubt I'll awaken this Rinnegan. Though I'll make sure to surpass you, Dadabayo. Shisui just looked at Naruto and smiled. You know, Naruto, I'm glad I made you my student. You're like the little brother I never had. Flashback, no jutsu release. The little brother I never had. Remember, I will always love you like one too. These words were all that were going through his brain. Clutching his eyes, they suddenly shaped into a black 8-point rounded star, with a red ring in the middle creating a black circle. Then between each gap of the star's points was a tomo. Naruto had unlocked the Mangekyo Sharingan. Picture of profile unaware of this new development, it would be years to come before he would once again use these new eyes. Though for now Naruto just fell to his knees. Deactivating his Sharingan, he collapsed onto the floor. Flashback no jutsu. Time skip. The little brother I never had. Remember, I will always love you like one too. These words were all that were going through his brain. Clutching his eyes, they suddenly shaped into a black 8-point rounded star, with a red ring in the middle creating a black circle. Then between each gap of the star's points was a tomo. Naruto had unlocked the Mangekyo Sharingan. Picture of profile unaware of this new development, it would be years to come before he would once again use these new eyes. Though for now Naruto just fell to his knees. Deactivating his Sharingan, he collapsed onto the floor. Hokage's office. Minato was sitting at his desk impatiently. He had a really sour and tired face. It was probably around 11 p.m. Even though he knew staying up this late was part of the job, right now he would rather be up doing some paperwork than waiting for what he was waiting. He leaned back into his chair and sighed. Fugaku, I will never understand why it had to come to this. I hope you can forgive me, Itachi. All I put onto your shoulders was one big burden. I hope the next generation can be the ones to change all this. Minato straightens himself up, deciding to attack the pile of paperwork to get things off his mind. Though as he was about to reach for the stack, his family picture caught his eye. No, what really caught his eye was Naruto. As Minato stared at the redhead's deep blue eyes, he couldn't help but feel guilty. He really wanted to make it up to him, but he only had time during training. He was totally refusing that. Minato just kept thinking until his thoughts came across Shisui. I need to find out what exactly happened to him. To believe he was attacked on the way there. Yet who? Itachi looked like he wasn't going to say more, but I have an idea who it was. Danzo. Though with no proof, I can't do anything. He's planning something big. I have to find out before it's too late. I have to keep a closer eye on him. Suddenly, a black-haired man with a weasel Anbu mask appeared before him. It's done. I sparred all the children who were yet to become a genin and weren't told about the coup d'etat. A total of 13 were left alive. Sir, I have on final request. Minato just stared at Itachi with sorrow filled in his eyes. Don't worry, Itachi, no harm will be done to them. As well if you need some ammo. No, Lord Hokage, I don't need anything, replied Itachi. I need you to never tell them the truth of this night. Minato just looked at him and turned to his window. Why? I was planning to tell them the truth when they become much older. Itachi replied, I wanted them to believe that the Uchiha clan was proud clan. I don't want them to lose that part of them. That's why I did this. Minato turned around. Pulling a small bag out of his desk, he tossed it at Itachi. There should be enough money in there for a month or two. As well, your request will be fulfilled, Itachi. No one will ever be told of this unless you want to. Itachi just nodded his head. With that, he shined out of the room and as far away from the village as he could. Now for the second part of my mission, infiltrating Akatsuki. Hours later. Finally, after settling all the chaos of the massacre, Minato just really wanted to go home and crawl away. He did just that, teleporting home for the night. Namake's household. Kushina was impatiently waiting for her husband. She sat there at the kitchen table, just reading some scrolls. Even though she was a retired shinobi, she still liked to keep herself busy with she planned to return to the forces once again. After all, she was only 32, but that's for another day. So now she was sitting at the kitchen table. She always waited for Minato to come home, and today would be no exception. Suddenly, there was a small flash of yellow, and Minato appeared. Minato, where were you? Demanded Kushina. I've been waiting here for ages. Minato just looked at Kushina, and his mood worsened. She's gonna be devastated about Mikoto. Kushina, I have to tell you something, said Minato. Kushina's eyes just flared up. You cheated on me, didn't you? You son. No. Kushina, there's no way I would cheat on you. I love you, come on. Cut in Minato, trying to calm down his wife. Kushina just looked at Minato apologetically. Of course, sorry, I'm just a bit tired. It's just Mito says that every time she does something wrong. Guilt overtook Minato once again. Well, Kushina Mikoto is dead. There was a massacre at the Uchiha compound. There was only 13 survivors, all children. Kushina's eyes just went wide. Falling back to her chair, she let the tears flow out. Her expression was filled with great sorrow. Mikoto is dead. But who would do this? Cried Kushina, we have to stop them. Minato just looked at Kushina painfully. It was Itachi, and he got away. Kushina's eyes just went wide. There is no way. Itachi loved his wouldn't ever do must be a mistake. Minato just turned around. We don't know exactly why. He caught his brother under a powerful jinjutsu that will probably leave him in the hospital for a while. He seemed to have killed all those who had the Sharingan, leaving him as the last one with an awakened Sharingan, besides Kakashi. Kushina just couldn't believe it. Her little Itachi had done that? She just sobbed harder into her hands. Though suddenly she stopped. What about Naruto? Is he all right? Getting up from her chair, she headed for his room. Minato following behind. Kushina, I doubt anything happened to don't have to wake him up. I doubt Itachi even knew about it. Shisui told me only he and Naruto did before he disappeared. Kushina just stopped walking. What do you mean disappear? Well, I sent him on a mission, and he never reported been marked as MIA presumed K, sheepishly replied Minato. Kushina just stared at him. Naruto is gonna be so devastated. I'm still checking, and with that Kushina hurried to Naruto's room. Minato following close behind. They opened his door a bit and peeked in. What they saw was Naruto silently sleeping in his bed. See, he is just sleeping, whispered Minato. Though Kushina noticed something else. Naruto was silent, too silent. She walked up and pinched Naruto's nose. Suddenly there was a loud poof and some smoke, revealing to be just a pillow. Kushina's eyes went wide and her hands were shaking. Minato, he isn't here. Minato couldn't believe it. Itachi didn't possibly kill his son too. No, there was no way. Kushina, don't worry, we'll find him. Just stay here. Quickly flashing back to his office to alert ANBU. Wait here. No way. She quickly ran to her room and put on her old ninja outfit and headed out. Hours later, ANBU had been furiously looking for the Hokage's son, yet he was nowhere to be found. Minato was beginning to panic. Did Danzo possibly take him during all the chaos? Then suddenly an ANBU appeared. Sir, he's been found by Lady Kushina. He's now being treated at the hospital. Minato looked up. Kushina? I told her to stay home. Doesn't matter now. Okay, call of the search. I'll be heading there myself. Yes, sir, replied the ANBU and disappeared. With that, Minato proceeded to use his flying thunder god technique to teleport to the hospital. Arriving in the main lobby, he dashed to the reception. At the reception was a young woman probably no older than says, I need the information on Naruto Namikaze now. The receptionist, not having looked up from her files, sorry, Sir Naruto is labeled as no visitors allowed by the Hokage. A tick mark on Minato's head formed. I am the Hokage. Receptionist jumped out of her chair, dropping all her files. Finally looking up, she couldn't help but stutter. So are RY, Lord Hokage. Quickly getting herself back up, she pointed down the hall on her right side. Down the hall to your right. The room will be the 5th door on the left side. Room number 45. Minato just nodded and dashed down the hall. Turning to the right down the 2nd hallway, he came to room 45. Arriving at the door, he quickly opened it and went inside. Having walked into the room, he noticed Naruto laying in bed. Kushina was sitting by his side looking very worried. Is he unconscious or resting? Thought Minato. Where did you find him? How is he? Asked Minato. Kushina turned and faced Minato. I found him right outside of training ground 31. He was just laying there totally knocked out, with his sword all bloody not too far from him. Seeing Minato's reaction at the last comment, she continued, no, it wasn't his blood. In fact, he has no injuries. I have no idea why he is unconscious though. I'm waiting for TS. Suddenly the door opened and a pair walked in. A busted blonde woman with a green robe and a young lady with short brown hair. What's going on? What's wrong with Naruto? Demanded the blonde. Lady Tsunade, please calm down, asked the brunette. How do you want me to calm down, Shizen? We've been here all night with the Uchiha massacre. Now Naruto is hurt. Minato, what type of Hokage are you? Demanded Tsunade, clutching her fist. You better have a good reason, or else you end up just like your pervy sensei. Minato quickly backed away, sweating bullets, while waving his hands in the air. Tsunade, please see. Minato was interrupted by Kushina. Tsunade, right now isn't the moment. We need to know what's wrong with Naruto. Tsunade, finally having remembered about Naruto, right? Shizun, I want you to read his report while I do a diagnosis. Shizun and Tsunade went to work, Shizun grabbing the report and reading through them, while Tsunade walked over to Naruto. Putting her hand over him, her palms turned green. Slowly, she started to hover her hands all over Naruto. Strange. There's not any physical damage that could have caused him to become unconscious. As well, no signs of poisons, and quickly moving her hands to his head, she began to concentrate, closing her eyes. Then suddenly her eyes flung open. This is worse than I thought, exclaimed Tsunade. Kushina and Minato moved closer with alarm. What do you mean worse than you thought? Asked Kushina. Well, if one is unconscious and there is no sign of physical damage, that means that they must have went through mental damage. Right now, Naruto's mental state is shattered. It's actually as bad or as worse than the Uchiha kid. That's why he's unconscious, explained Tsunade. What do you mean as bad as Sasuke's? What happened to him? Asked Kushina, frantically looking at Minato and Tsunade. Minato just looked down, already knowing what had happened to young Sasuke. Tsunade just sighed. Itachi, his brother, caught him in an unbreakable jinjutsu, which made him watch Itachi massacre the clan. He explained that in the jinjutsu, 72 hours passed, while in real life, it was merely 5. Luckily, I was able to take him out of his unconscious state since it was only a jinjutsu. Yet, it still made a lot of damage in his personality and mental state. Kushina just gasped. She was still having trouble accepting the massacre. Yet for Itachi to do that? She just shook those thoughts away. Then can't you do the same to Naruto? No, what happened to Naruto wasn't a jinjutsu. It was the real thing. It would be wiser to allow his brain to catch up with the information. Though if he doesn't wake in 6 days, I'll wake him from his unconscious state. For now, it's wise to just let him rest and hope whatever happened doesn't affect him too much. Tsunade gave Naruto a kiss on the forehead, and her and Shizun headed out to check on other patients. Kushina and Minato just stood there watching Tsunade leaving. Minato just looked tired and filled with grief. Kushina looked like she was going to burst into tears again. What type of mother have I been lately? I keep saying I want him to come back. Though what have I really done? I've just kept offering to train him. I don't even know what he really likes. Now you're here in so much pain. Yet I can't do anything because I don't really know much about your life. Minato interrupted her, thinking, Kushina, it's best if you go back and rest. It's been such a long night, we're just going to have to wait for him to wake up. No, replied Kushina. Minato was a bit taken back. Kushina would usually agree with him. Kushina, you have to remember that Naruto isn't your only child. You also have to worry about Mito. No, I'm not leaving. Just like Mito isn't our only child. Tell me, Minato, do you have any ideas what could possibly have caused Naruto into this state? To get put in this mental state, his worst fear must have came true. Tell me, Minato, do you know what he is scared of the most? Seeing that Minato had no answer, just like you can't tell that. Can you even tell me what his favorite color is? Dreams for the future? I can name all of Mito's, but none of Naruto's. No, I'm not leaving. Crossing her arms and sitting down by Naruto. Minato just sighed. Then suddenly, all the guilt went rushing at him. He knew what Kushina had said was totally true. He actually wanted to stay too, but he had to remember that he was Hokage too. You're right. I don't know any of that stuff. You can stay with him until morning, but if he doesn't wake up, you'll go back and rest. I need to get some rest. Then I'll check up on you in a few hours. With that, Minato disappeared in a flash. Kushina just sat in the chair by Naruto, waiting for her son to wake up. 3 days later. Naruto's mind. Naruto, you were like a little brother to me. Remember, I will always love you like one too. Naruto heard and watched himself kill Shisui over and over, felt like he had watched this a million times, yet he still couldn't process the information. It was like every time he watched it, it was a new memory. Then suddenly he heard a voice, move on. Naruto cocked his head. In front of him was an illusion of Shisui. Wake up, Naruto. You can do it. Just move on. Hospital room. Naruto suddenly jerked awake. Sitting up, he looked straight ahead. Looking to his left, he noticed the sun was high in the sky. It was just a bad dream. Then suddenly Naruto looks down to what he is wearing. He notices he is in the same outfit as the dream. Clutching his head, it can't be unless. Reaching for his pouch, he digs around. Then suddenly his hand lands on a slightly bigger scroll. His breath suddenly gets much more shallow. Slowly pulling it out, he notices it is the same scroll Shisui gave him. Clutching his head once more, he screams, "NLO!" Kushina woke from her sleep in shock. Looking up, she noticed her son was clutching his head with a scroll in his hands. Quickly getting up, she heads over to him and tries to get a grip on him. "Honey, please calm us. All right, you're safe." Naruto looks over, just noticing his mom, though it wasn't enough to calm him down. As she tried to embrace him in a hug, he pushed away and got off the bed. And oh, he can't be dead, HH. Falling to his knees, he stops clutching his head. "I didn't mean to, I swear." Suddenly, he burst into tears. "Who's dead? What happened to you, Naruto?" thought Kushina as she tried to calm down her son. Then suddenly Tsunade burst into the room. "What's going on?" Looking down at Naruto. She rushes over to him. "Naruto, calm down. It wouldn't do you any good if you just collapse again." Naruto's crying ceases. He rushes over to Tsunade and embraces her in a hug. "Jiren matis Tsunade, I didn't mean to." Tsunade just hugs him back. Looking at Kushina, she gives her a questioning look. Kushina just shook her head. "He just woke up like this. I don't know what he's talking about." Tsunade, having understood, grabs Naruto and brings him back to his bed. "Okay, Naruto, calm down. Then tell us what happened." Naruto, having understood what she said, begun to calm down. "What happened to you last night, Naruto?" asked Tsunade. Naruto looked at her and stuttered back. "He attacked me. THHN, I defended. ISWW or WW and threw up." Shaking his head to compose himself, he gulped and continued, "I stabbed him with my sword. Then he died. But I didn't know it was him. I swear you have to believe me. HHE had a mask." Tsunade's and Kushina's eyes went wide. "Shisui did this. Was he with Itachi?" "Why did Shisui do this?" asked Kushina. "Was he with Itachi?" Naruto's eyes went wide with the mention of Itachi. Then he remembered what Shisui told him. Did Itachi really kill his clan? Tsunade and Kushina gasped. "Naruto, we never told you about that. How did you know?" Naruto closed his eyes. "So, Itachi really do it." He was about to respond when he remembered what Shisui told him. "You can never let anyone know the truth." "He told me before he died," replied Naruto, taking a huge breath, "though I thought he was just making up lies." "Honey, why did Shisui attack you?" asked Kushina. Naruto just gritted his teeth. "I don't know. He said he wanted to test me. He said he was already dying, so he wanted to see how far I had progressed." Naruto's mind was racing at 1,000,000 miles per hour. "Do I tell them?" "No, Shisui said not to. Though he did this to me." "Why?" Tsunade looked at Naruto with full sorrow. "Narrate. Can I just go home? I want to get some rest." Interrupted Naruto. "Has the Uchiha funeral passed?" "Yes, yesterday," replied Kushina. Naruto closed his wanted to go pay his respect to Shisui, but at the same time, he felt so bitter towards him. "Okay, can we go, Mom?" said Naruto as he headed for the door. Tsunade just sighed. "I'm not supposed to let you go, but I'll make and please Naruto, take it easy." Naruto stopped as he opened the door, and in a monotone voice he replied, "Okay." As Kushina and Tsunade saw Naruto leave, a face of worry crossed Kushina and Tsunade. Kushina followed behind his son. Many hours later at the cemetery, the whole village had heard the unfortunate news about the Uchiha clan, that Itachi had massacred his clan and had only spared the children, which weren't many, just 13 of the 67 of the Uchiha clan. A huge funeral had been set by the Hokage. Not all the village attended, but a majority of it did. After his mother told Minato about Shisui's death, Minato proceeded to add him to the graves, which left Kushina baffled since Shisui had tried to kill Naruto, but Minato wouldn't explain it to Kushina. Naruto has been just thankful he hadn't seen his dad all day. He didn't know what he would do if he saw him in front of him. He was holding so much anger towards him. As well, he got really ticked off when Mito greeted him. She just asked if he was all right and left. From that moment, he decided to just stop trying. Even though Shisui had asked him to, he just couldn't stand it anymore. The only reason he had attempted to even talk to her was because Shisui had asked him to. She never tried to say anything back and took him for granted. though the only person he really couldn't complain about was his mother. He was very grateful she was there. He probably would have just stayed in his room if it wasn't for her. For the first time in his life, he actually felt like his mother cared. She had actually asked him what he wanted to eat. Asked him. As well, from what he heard from Mito's complaining, she stood by his side all 3 days. He couldn't help but hug his mother. For probably the first time in his life, he hadn't felt overlooked. Even after all of this, Naruto had decided he needed to go cemetery. He felt if he could find closure, it would be there. Naruto was walking down the road to the cemetery. On his way, he could see people looking at him. Some waved because he was the son of the 4th Hokage. Yet he saw some kids point at him and snicker. Naruto couldn't help but feel a bit anger. They're laughing at me just after what happened. Though I have been in coma for 3 days. Naruto just sighed. I'm such a mess, I don't know whether I should be angry or that I wouldn't let get to me. Are now getting to me. Turning the corner, he walked into the cemetery. As he walked down the rows of graves, he made his way down to the Uchiha Memorial. As he reached the place, he began going down the rows, which were alphabetical, until he made his ways to the S's. Taking a deep breath, he made his way to Shisui's grave. Naruto looked down. He knew that there was no body in the grave, but he couldn't help but fall to his knees. As he stared down the grave, he began to cry. Why did you do this to me, Shisui? Quietly asked Naruto, tears flowing down his face. Why did you have to die? Naruto couldn't help but cry. What Shisui had done, what he had done was just too much. He didn't know to be angry at himself or at Shisui. Shisui said he did this for him, but he didn't know what to think. Naruto just stayed quiet as he thought to himself. He didn't notice a small figure walk up to him. The little figure walked up to Naruto and whispered, "Excuse me, sir." Naruto turned around and noticed it was a black-haired girl. She had the same dark eyes as all the Uchiha, though they were a little puffy. Naruto slowly moved to the right. Curious about the girl, he stayed. Naruto, taking a better look at her, noticed she looked a lot like Shisui, though in a feminine way. He watched as the girl placed a white flower on top of his grave. Naruto couldn't help but ask, "Did you know Shisui?" The girl just looked up. As she tried to speak, her voice choked a little. Yes, he was my big cousin. He would sometime look after me because Muemwai would sometimes be out on missions. He was pretty funny and nice. I miss him and mommy the most. The little girl began to let some tears flow out. Naruto suddenly felt like running away. He really wasn't good with little kids, even though he was a kid. Though suddenly Shisui's voice crossed his mind. Take care of the next generation of the Uchiha. Naruto took a deep breath. Maybe this was why Shisui did what he did. I can do this. I won't run away. Yeah, he was pretty funny, wasn't he? But I don't think he would find it very funny to see you cry, replied Naruto. What's your name, by the way? Aren't you a little young to be here alone? My name is Haruka, and I'm 5. So, I can take care of myself, replied the little girl, finally whipping the tears as her fiery attitude started to bubble her reaction. Naruto finally did something he hadn't done in days. He smiled. Fiery and confident, just like Shisui. Naruto blinked at that thought. Wasn't he just confused about Shisui a minute ago? Why was he so happy with this? Getting rid of the thought, he teased the girl. I don't know, you look like a squirt to me. Haruka just pouted. You can't call me a squirt. You're probably like 10. I'm 11, by the way. So tell me, why are you here alone? Asked Naruto. Haruka's little pouty face turned into a sad one. I wanted to bring Shisui a flower, but the lady taking care of us wouldn't let me. So I snuck off. Naruto just sighed, even though he had done the same. I don't think the lady will be too happy with you. As well, she must be worried sick. Haruka replied, I don't care. I said I was going to say bring Shisui a flower, and that's it. By the way, how do you know so much about him? Who are you? Naruto made a little choke sound. He had a little trouble responding, but he replied, he was my sensei, and he was my best friend. Naruto's eyes widened at what he just said, though suddenly his mood changed. Yes, he is my best friend. Regardless of what happened. I guess that's what I needed to confirm. Yeah, my best friend. As well, my name is Naruto. Finished Naruto. Haruka's eyes went wide. You're Naruto? Wow, Shisui told me about you. He said that you were a really good ninja. Haruka looked at her feet. Can I ask you something? Naruto looked back, a bit curious at her change of attitude. What? Well, my mommy didn't like you very much. She thought that an Uchiha should teach an Uchiha. So why did Shisui teach you? Innocently asked Haruka. Naruto just gave a loud sigh. He really didn't like when the Uchiha would criticize Shisui teaching him. Well, the first reason was because Shisui believed I was a lot like him. As well, me and Shisui were like. No, we were well, if you believe an Uchiha can only teach an Uchiha. Well, closing his eyes for a second, he reopened them. Unaware himself, he had shown the girl a fully matured Sharingan. The little girl gasped, "Wow, you're an Uchiha?" Naruto shook his head. "No, I'm from the Namikaze and Uzumaki clan. The Namikaze clan are cousins of the Uchiha, and Uzumaki cousins of the Senju. Since I have both Senju and Uchiha blood, I can activate the Sharingan. So in a way, yes, I am, but not fully." The girl was still in awe. "How did you already master it?" "My mother said it usually took an Uchiha until the age of 15 to reach its full potential. Only Shisui and Itachi did it early." Naruto looked at the girl confused. "Mastered? I only have two tomo, unless..." Naruto reached to his shoe, pulling out a small knife. He looked into the reflection. As he saw, he let a loud gasp. "Shisui, you did this for me, didn't you?" Naruto let out a tear. He had finally understood why Shisui had done what he had done, as he remembered what he had said a long time ago. Flashback no jutsu. Naruto was panting as he was finishing his last exercise. He deactivated his Sharingan as he caught his breath. He had seen the difference between an immature Sharingan and a mature Sharingan. Shisui's Sharingan made him look like he didn't have any in the first place. So he couldn't help but ask, "Hey Shisui, how did you mature your Sharingan so quickly?" Shisui just looked at him. "Naruto, there's no easy way if that's what you're asking. Though there are two ways and one may reach the third and final stage." That piqued Naruto's interest. "Two ways?" Shisui nodded his head. "Yes. One, of course, is to train it to the limit, though the second is similar to just activating the Sharingan. A normal Uchiha could activate it when they are in great danger, though for you it's a little different." Naruto gave him a question look. "What do you mean?" "Well, not to bring back bad memories, but you activated your Sharingan because of great grief. The betrayals of your parents was enough emotion to help activate them," replied Shisui. Naruto asked, "I understand that, but why is that?" "Well, you see, when one isn't a full-blooded Uchiha, it takes more than danger to activate the Sharingan, since they don't have enough of the gene in their blood. So it takes a deeper emotion, such as grief and anger," replied Shisui. "Though unless you want to lose someone precious, I think you should just stick to the road of hard work." Naruto waved his hands in the air. "Come on, Shisui, you know I'm not power-hungry. As well, I can never cause intentional harm to those around me." Shisui just smiled at him. "Good, because I just remembered. I won't be able to take you out for ramen. I have a mission." Then he disappeared in a poof. Naruto just blinked, then yelled, "Shisui!" Flashback no jutsu release. Naruto couldn't help but cry. He had finally understood. Shisui knew he was going to die, so he made sure his death wasn't in vain. He made sure the Naruto would be strong enough. Yes, he had found his closure, though for a moment he forgot about the little girl. "I'm sorry I brought back bad memories. Please don't cry," begged the Haruka as she too was about to cry. Naruto composed himself, not wanting to see the girl cry again. "Don't worry, Haruka. It's all right," as he embraced her in a hug. "Why don't I take you back to the orphanage?" Haruka shook her head. "I don't want to go back yet. It's really lonely there. All the kids are like at least 3 years older than me or 2 years younger." Naruto, just though he hadn't lost all his family like her, he could understand one thing: loneliness. Naruto had felt it his whole life when Shisui was away, whether it was at school, home, or at the park. If he wasn't with Kakashi, Tsunade, Itachi, or Shisui, he was usually all alone. Suddenly, her stomach growled. The little girl blushed a little at the loud sound she made. Naruto allowed a smile to escape his lips. "I guess we don't have to go back right away. How about we get something to eat?" Haruka twiddled her fingers. "I don't know, but only if it's ramen." Naruto just smiled. "Well, lucky you, I know the best ramen shop in town." Haruka's eyes went wide. "Really? Mommy wouldn't let me have a lot. She said it was unhealthy." Haruka's eyes narrowed as she thought about her mother. Naruto saw this. "Well, that's what I thought so too, but the old man there has this special soup for me. It's filled with vegetables and lots of good meats. It's quite healthy, actually. I bet your mother would have approved." Haruka looked at him. "Really? Well, let's go." Grabbing him by the arm, she dragged him out. Though before she did, he He gave Shisui's grave one last look and smiled, then looked back at the girl. The little grieving girl he had seen a moment ago was now all smiles. It was like even if the world stopped spinning, her smile wouldn't fade. As they raced to the shop, he couldn't help but to laugh with her. He was only 11, but he felt kind of silly. Naruto and Haruka sat down in the stand. Naruto called out, "I am 2 training specials." A brunette girl faced them, coming right up Naruto. As well, who's the girl? "My name's Haruka," answered Haruka for Naruto. I am laughed a little at the hyper girl. "It seems, Naruto, you have found your former self." Naruto just sighed and Haruka pouted. "I wasn't that bad, was I?" "Oh, Naruto, you used to be such a hyper kid before you started training. Even I couldn't handle you," replied Ayam as she disappeared into the kitchen. Haruka looked at Naruto. "Hey Naruto, what did she mean, former self?" "Well, you see, I used to be lots like you, Haruka. Always hyper and brash," replied Naruto. "I'm not brash," screamed Haruka. Naruto just smiled. "Whatever." Haruka stopped her pouting. "You know, Naruto, you aren't that bad. Especially since you bought me some ramen." "No problem, Haruka. I know you're having a little trouble," replied Naruto. "No, it's not just that. You've been the first person since the incident to actually do something. I mean, people say they're sorry for me, but they didn't go out of their way like you did," said Haruka as she let out a tear, reaching for a hug. "So thank you." Naruto returned the hug a bit. "As I said, no problem." Haruka, whipping away the tears, couldn't help but ask, Naruto, maybe you could come visit me tomorrow. It's a bit lonely at the orphanage." "So maybe." Naruto looked at the little girl. To be honest, he really didn't want to get too attached to her, since what just happened with Shisui. But he couldn't say no to her sorrowful face. "Sure, Haruka. As well, once you start becoming a ninja, well, if you become a ninja, I could train you too." Haruka's face lit up at Naruto's response. "Thank you, Naruto. And yes, I want to become a great ninja like my mom and Shisui." Suddenly, Ayam appeared. "Hey, race the food." Putting down 2 bowls. "Haruka, be a little careful, it's hot, honey." "Well, time to eat," stated Naruto as he pulled out a pair of chopsticks, with Haruka doing the same, as Naruto was halfway through his food. "Thanks a lot, big brother Naruto," said Haruka. Naruto choked on his food. "What did you say?" Haruka was a bit nervous at his response. Well, my mother said that her older brother always took care of her, and you're taking care of me. So you're kind of like my big brother." Looking down into her bowl, "I'm sorry if I upset you. I." Naruto's grin was so wide it almost fell off his face. "Maybe I can't find a sister in Mito, but Haruka, I promise to protect you." "It's fine, Haruka." Naruto returned to eating his food, perfectly fine. Haruka smiled and reflected, "Maybe I didn't lose all my real family in massacre." "All right, big brother." As she returned to eating her bowl, unnoticed by her, Naruto stared at the space in front of him. "I truly understand why you did it, no Shisui." Looking at Haruka, "To protect those close to you. To protect Haruka, the rest of the Uchiha kids, and me. So this is the will of fire, and I will be the next to carry the torch." 3 months later. It had been 3 months since the Uchiha incident. 6 months until he would be able to become an official ninja. Even though he had flirted with the idea of graduating 2 months ago, he remembered his promise to Shisui. As well, he had another reason. He also wanted to spend more time with his new little sister, Haruka. He remembered the first couple days visiting her. She was so excited she couldn't help but bounce all over the place. Naruto had a bit of trouble handling her. Yes, he had been the same at the age of 5, but this was ridiculous. The little girl couldn't stay still for more than 5 minutes. She always wanted to do something that Naruto had never done before. Things he should have done, but he was too obsessed with becoming a ninja. Yet, through all the embarrassment and headaches, Naruto couldn't help but love the little girl like a real sister. He would always spoil her with his pocket money, as well do almost anything with her. As well, he couldn't wait until she became older to start teaching her how to become a ninja. Though this would all have to wait because now Naruto was stuck in the middle of his academy class. Naruto was sitting in the far back left corner of the room. He was sitting in the sit by the wall, while Shikamaru and Choji occupied the other 2 seats. Shikamaru was just sleeping, and Choji was silently eating away at some chips. Naruto was debating whether to ask his mother for help in Fuinjutsu. Fuinjutsu would be perfect for the technique I'm creating, though it would be a while until I actually use it. Should I ask her? I mean, she has been much nicer to me and spending more time with me. Maybe I should give her a chance. Then suddenly 2 pieces of chalk went flying toward his direction. He was able to notice that one piece was aimed at him and the other at Shikamaru. Grabbing his eraser, he threw it at the one aimed at Shikamaru's head and tilting his head to the left, evading the piece of chalk thrown at him. Naruto smirked. He really liked showing off to his favorite sensei, Iruka. Iruka just gave Naruto a quick smile. Naruto, you're really good. It's hard to believe you aren't a genin yet. As Iruka looked around the classroom, he saw the shock in everyone's face. Many were impressed, never seeing such reflexes. Kiba looked at him with jealousy, while Mito looked a bit impressed. Ino and Sakura were rambling something about trying to be like Sasuke. Hinata just gave Naruto a smile. Shino gave a somewhat impressed face, while Sasuke showed no emotion. He wasn't surprised by the Naruto's reflexes. Impressive, Naruto, but that doesn't mean both you and Shikamaru can slack off in class. So pay attention, yelled Iruka as his head expanded. Shikamaru slowly lifted his head. Can you turn it down? And thanks, Naruto. Then he slowly perched his head back down. Suddenly, a big tick mark appeared on Iruka's head. Wake up, Shikamaru. Pay attention. The class suddenly erupted in laughter. Some of them were laughing at Iruka's failure at controlling them, while some laughed at Shikamaru's lazy response. Suddenly, one brown-haired kid with red marking on his face stood up. Iruka-sensei, just give up. It's not like they're going to become ninjas anyways. They're a bunch of idiots who don't pay attention. Kiba, don't talk about your classmates like that. Anyone here can become a great ninja with effort, retorted Iruka. Then suddenly a blonde-haired girl stood up. Though they never try, sensei. There's no way they can become great ninjas. Ino, said Iruka as he was interrupted by Naruto. Shut your mouth, Ino and Kiba. You see, the reason we don't pay attention to this is because we already know it. As well, being a ninja isn't just about knowing your history. You also have to know how to fight in ninjutsu, taijutsu, and jinjutsu. So, until you can beat either one of us in this, just shut your face. Why you? Replied Ino as she was ready to go pummel him. I can beat you in anything, Naruto. Bring it on. Fired back Kiba as his eyes ignited into little flames. Sasuke, who had watched all this, just grunted. He knew a bit more of Naruto's full abilities, and he knew there wasn't a genin alive that could probably go toe-to-toe with a chunin like Iruka. Sasuke knew he couldn't defeat Naruto. It hurt his ego a lot, but he eventually came to accept it. It was actually Naruto himself who had helped drop his ego a bit. He remembered meeting up with him a few months ago. Flashback no jutsu. 2 months ago. Fire release. Great fireball technique. A huge ball of fire quickly erupted from Sasuke's mouth. The huge ball of fire quickly destroyed the 5 practice dummies in front of him. Sasuke was breathing hard. I need to get stronger, but my limit is only 5. It is pathetic. If I want to get him, I need to get stronger. Meanwhile, a blue-eyed redhead was a few trees away, watching him practice his technique. Naruto's eyes quickly changed from their deep blue to a bloody red, with 3 tomo around the pupil. Naruto watched curiously with his Sharingan. He could tell that his problem was that he had below-average chakra control, therefore hindering his growth in the technique. Though his Sharingan could also see the hatred in his eyes. So much hatred. I see what Haruka meant. Flashback inside a flashback. Naruto was walking down the village with Haruka perched on his shoulders. Naruto was taking Haruka back to the orphanage. After they had gone to the word, just enjoying each other's silence as they made their way there. Suddenly, Haruka broke the ice. Hey, big brother, can you do me a favor? Asked Haruka. Naruto gave Haruka a strange look. She wasn't the one to dance around something. She was usually quite blunt. What is it, Haru? Haruka gave him an angry look. It's not Haru. It's Haruka. Whatever, Haru smirked Naruto as he looked up to her pouty face. So, what is it? You're usually quite straightforward about wanting something. Haruka dropping her pout. Oh yeah? I was wondering if you could talk to Sasuke. Naruto gave her a curious look. Taking her down from his shoulders, he put her on the ground. Kneeling down to her eye level. Why? Is he bothering you? Haruka gave a shrug. Not really, but he is always so lonely. As well, he only talks about getting revenge on Itachi. I told him that you said that revenge was pointless, but he wouldn't listen. Haruka started to look glum. So, I was wondering if you could help because I don't want to lose any more family. Naruto responded with a sigh. I forgot about S right. I have to do something about it. What was Itachi thinking? For being such a genius, he really screwed this one up. I guess it was the only way to shrug any suspicions on the village. What to do? What to do? Don't worry about it, said Naruto as he kept giving the situation some taking his attention from it. He teased Haruka. I'll take care of it. Anything else, my little Haru? Haruka gave him an annoyed look. Then suddenly a big grin covered her face. Well, now that you mention it, how about some ice cream? Naruto backed off. Haruka, I don't know. Last time the orphanage lady almost killed me for bringing you late. Haruka did the only jutsu she knew, puppy-eye jutsu, but, said, if I wanted anything else. And I want ice cream. I thought I was your little Haru. Naruto tried to look away, but he fell victim to her puppy eyes. Fine. Yes, yes, I want chocolate and vanilla, screamed Haruka. Naruto grabbed her hand looking defeated. Let's go. Flashback inside of flashback end. I really need to be careful around, just talking with him won't work. Maybe I should. He watched as Sasuke went through the hand signs for the fireball jutsu. I guess it's now or never. Just as he released his jutsu, Naruto jumped in front of his target, going through his own hand signs, water release, wild water wave. Suddenly, a large jet of water was shot out of Naruto's mouth. The jet of water collided with the fireball, canceling out the technique, leaving behind a small amount of mist. As the mist cleared, Naruto was facing directly in front of Sasuke. Sasuke just looked at Naruto angrily. What does he want? He's interrupting my training. What do you want? Bluntly stated Sasuke. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. I was wondering why you were training so hard. It seems you're desperate to become stronger, but for what? Sasuke glared Naruto down. What does it matter to you? You wouldn't understand. Naruto just give a small laugh. What makes you think I wouldn't understand? Maybe I could even help you out. You can't help me. As well I don't want helped up, boldly stated Sasuke. Naruto just sighed. Closing his eyes, he reopened off the 3 tomo in his eyes. Sasuke, seeing his eyes, stepped back. There's no way. How do you have those eyes? Retorted Sasuke. I'm from the Namikaze and Uzumaki clan. I really hate explaining this. Anyways, the Namikaze are cousins to the Uchiha, while the Uzumaki to the Senju. Since I have blood of both, I can activate the Sharingan, explained Naruto. Sasuke looked skeptically at Naruto. Then, without reserve, Sasuke demanded, train me. Naruto just looked at Sasuke, already expecting this. You don't have enough of it. Sasuke's eyes just grew wide as he remembered what Itachi said. You don't have enough hatred. Sasuke suddenly became so angry. I do too. I challenge you right here and now. Naruto just shook his head, not aware that Sasuke was thinking about hatred. Follow me, I'll help you get what you need. With that, Naruto just walked off. Sasuke debated whether or not to follow him. Could he help me get more hatred? Is this how he already mastered the Sharingan? I guess it won't hurt. Sasuke hurried after Naruto. Center of the village. Naruto was just walking silently as he walked down the street with Sasuke. They walked along. Sasuke couldn't help but ask, how long have you had the Sharingan? Naruto stopped walking, turning to Sasuke. Well, I've had it since I was 9. Sasuke eyes widened at how early he got it, feeling a bit jealous. Though it took a lot of work to master it, since I'm not a full-blooded Uchiha. I just recently mastered it. You could probably master it in a year and a half. So how long have you had it? Sasuke looked away, mumbling something. Naruto, not having heard him, what did you say? Sasuke looked back at him. I have an auk in it. Naruto suddenly burst out laughing. Sasuke suddenly felt rage once again bubble out. It's not funny. Naruto, controlling himself. Are you sure? Not to be rude or anything, but the one teaching me said an Uchiha can awaken it by simply seeing someone they know die. I mean, wasn't the massacre enough? Sasuke looked a bit shocked at the information. I've never heard that before. Who exactly was his sensei? Well, I guess it wasn't enough for me, retorted Sasuke. Naruto looked impassively at Sasuke. Have you even tried channeling chakra to your eyes? Sasuke felt dumbfounded of never trying that before. Quickly taking his advice, he channeled chakra to his eyes. Suddenly, everything changed. He saw everything slow down a notch. As well, he could see signs of chakra inside the people around him. Amazing. Stop that, you don't have the proper control. You'll burn through your chakra too easily, said Naruto. Let's go, we're here. Sasuke looked at where they were. Looking up, he noticed it was the orphanage in which most of the Uchiha kids stayed. What are we doing here? I thought you were going to help me get stronger? That's exactly what I'm doing, said Naruto as he walked in. Sasuke just followed behind him, a bit nervous. What if I have to kill one of my clansmen? Is that how he got so strong? Suddenly, they appeared in the front office, where a young lady around her late 20s was sitting in a desk. Hello, Naruto, are you here to see Haruka? Oh, Sasuke, right. You here to see some family, I'm guessing? Sasuke, not knowing what to say, just let Naruto respond. Yes, and yes. If you don't mind, we'll head there ourselves. The lady nodded at Naruto. That's fine, go right ahead. But Naruto, please keep it, always seem to get a bit out of hand when you're with Haruka. Naruto's sweat dropped as he nodded back and signaled for Sasuke to follow. They walked towards the hall to the lady's left. They walked past many doors as Sasuke asked, "What are we doing here?" "Sasuke, what's your dream in life?" asked Naruto. Sasuke looked at Naruto angrily. He really hated how he kept answering his questions with questions. It annoyed him to no end. It isn't a dream because I will make it a reality. My goal is to restore my clan to its former glory. And stop right there, said Naruto. You said you want to restore its former glory, right? Sasuke just nodded, not knowing where this was going. Well, the Uchiha clan was known for its police force, right? They were known for bringing justice and protecting everyone. If you truly want to restore your clan to its former glory, you will drop your thirst for revenge, stated Naruto out of the blue. Sasuke responded, you don't understand. For me to be strong, I have to kill Itachi. He told me. You must be the biggest idiot alive, Databeo. Cut in Naruto. Why would you listen to person that killed your clan? If were you, I wouldn't listen to one word that piece of trash said. Sasuke's eye widened as he realized what Naruto said was right. Though Naruto continued. You want to know what my sensei said? He said that one became truly strong when they have the will to protect someone they care for. My sensei, Shisui Uchiha. Sasuke jumped at that voice. Shisui taught him? This was the kid that Itachi said would be my rival. Though didn't Shisui die before the massacre? Shisui was probably as strong or stronger than Itachi. He was going to stop Itachi, but he died, said Naruto as he closed his eyes. Sasuke quickly retorted, if he was so strong, then why did he die at Itachi's hands? Naruto lifted his head in anger. He didn't die at his hands. Not a lot of people know this, but someone got in his way. Someone that wanted his Mangekyo Sharingan. Naruto covered his mouth at what he said. Sasuke looked at him in shock. Mangekyo Sharingan? He had it. So that means he had to kill his best friend. As well, if he had it, there would be no way he would lose. Naruto shook his head. Looking around to make sure no one was around, he continued. Shisui told me that there was a second way to activate it. To work the Sharingan to the point it naturally evolves into the Mangekyo. Killing your best friend is the easy way out. Sasuke was amazed at Shisui's ability of the Sharingan. He remembered his father praising him a few times, but he had no idea that he was that skilled. To naturally evolve the Sharingan to the Mangekyo, that must take some serious skill, or everyone would have it. That still doesn't explain how he lost, if he had the Mangekyo Sharingan, retorted Sasuke. I can't tell him about Danzo. He will quickly connect the dots. Though if I twist the story a bit, thought Naruto. Do you really think Itachi killed the Uchiha clan by himself? There was someone else, you know. Who was it? I'll kill him too then, said Sasuke, finally confirming his suspicions. Naruto looked at the window. Shisui didn't know who it was exactly, but he had an orange mask and the Mangekyo Sharingan. He claimed to be Madara Uchiha. Sasuke's eyes widened in shock, but shouldn't he be dead? As well, why would he attack his own clan? Naruto shrugged his shoulders. I don't know, but I have a few theories. Shisui told me he was the one behind the Nine Tails attack 11 years ago. So, I believe it was to weaken the village to get his revenge, or he still holds a grudge against the clan for joining the Leaf. Sasuke was trying to process all of this. Who else knows? Naruto shrugged again. I don't know. I know that all Jonins are aware of the masked man, but his involvement in the massacre? Probably just the Hokage and the advisors. Sasuke blinked on how Naruto addressed his father. Shouldn't you say father or dad? For the second time, Sasuke had seen Naruto lose his cool. That Man doesn't know what a father means if it hit him right in the head. Now let's go. He must have issues with his father. It's probably since his sister is a Jinchuriki. She probably gets lots of attention, while he gets none. Kind of like I was with my father. Quickly summed up Sasuke. Shouldn't we be training to get stronger? What if this guy comes back? We will eventually. But do you know how Madara was defeated? Asked Naruto. Sasuke answered. Well, the first Hokage defeated him. Yes, but he defeated him because he had the will of fire. Explained Naruto. Sasuke looked at him curiously. The will of fire? Naruto nodded. Yes, the will of fire. The will to protect all those close to you, no matter what. Hiroshima had the will to protect Konoha no matter what. Therefore, he had the strength to defend everyone. To defeat his biggest rival, Madara Uchiha. Sasuke thought it over in his head, the will of fire. But who do you have to protect? I mean, you don't sound on good terms with your father. No offense, but you and your sister Mito don't really act like siblings. More like people forced to greet each other. That only leaves what, your mother? Asked Sasuke. Naruto didn't respond right away. As they finally made their way to an orange door, he knocked and responded, You're right. I'm not on best terms with my family, but I have someone else. She's kind of like a little sister. That's who I want to protect. Sasuke wondered who this girl was, though his question was quickly answered as the door swung opened, and he heard a little girl yell, Big brother Naruto. The girl quickly tackled Naruto to the ground. Calm down, Haruka. I come visit you every day, said Naruto as he chuckled at her antics. I know, but it's so boring. Want to go tea? Haruka stopped talking as she noticed who was with Naruto. Hi big cousin Sasuke. Sasuke looked at the girl, remembering who she was. Wasn't she like the daughter of mother's cousin Mina? Haruka, said Sasuke. Haruka deadpanned at his response. What? Sasuke felt his eyebrow twitch a little. Naruto laughed at Haruka's reaction. Then suddenly a few other kids appeared at the door. Hey, it's cousin Sasuke, yelled a 9-year-old with his brown hair in a ponytail. Shut up, Ken, retorted another boy with black hair hanging to his shoulders. He was probably around 8 years old. Make me Katashi, retorted Ken. Just watch me, said Katashi. Suddenly another girl with long black hair walked in. Both of you calm down, or I'll beat you to the ground. Both of the boys hugged each other as they backed away. Then the girl turned her attention to Sasuke and Naruto. I'm so sorry about these idiots. So how are you doing, Sasuke? We haven't seen you since that day. It's all right, Aiko, said Naruto as he gave the boys a pitiful look. As for Sasuke, I guess I'll let him respond. Sasuke looked around at his family that he hadn't noticed until now, how he had abandoned them. I can't believe I haven't taken time to visit them. I'm no better than him. Naruto watched as Sasuke didn't respond. He decided to respond for him. Well, you see guys, it's just he has had a bit more trouble than you guys. To get over the fact what his Itachi did. Well, you should have came earlier then. What's family for? To help each other out, of course, added Aiko. Yeah, yelled both Katashi and Ken. Sasuke just stared dumbfounded at his family. He didn't know what to say. What do I say? Then suddenly he felt a tug at his shorts. Looking down, he saw a kid probably no older than 3. Looking at the kid, he had his hands up, motioning to pick him up. Sasuke, not even thinking about it, his body just picked up the kid. As he got a better look, he noticed the kid looked a lot like Itachi. His hair had the long hair with 2 bangs and just didn't have the 2 lines by his nose, and his hair was a lighter shade. Sasuke suddenly felt really numb. Am I not supposed to be the next head of the clan? But I put my family to the side. Though Naruto, he looks to have gained their respect, and he also has mastered the Sharingan. With what? The will of fire? Will this truly make me strong? Looking around at his family, he did something he hadn't done since before the massacre. Something he didn't think he would do until he had killed Itachi. He smiled. Not one of those smirks he would give. No, a real genuine smile. I'm sorry. I guess I was a bit selfish. Thanks, Naruto, said Sasuke. Naruto smiled back at Sasuke. No problem. It was actually Haruka's idea. Haruka blushed. It was nothing. That's what's family for. Sasuke looked at the girl right by Naruto. She actually does look a lot like Shisui. Sister? Cousin? No wonder Naruto is so attached to her. Thanks, Squirt, teased Sasuke. Both Naruto and Haruka fell to their faces. Haruka because she couldn't believe she was called a squirt. Again. Naruto couldn't believe Sasuke just said A, and Haruka quickly got back up. Sasuke, did you just say a joke? Asked Naruto in awe. So what? Said Sasuke. Naruto shook his head. Sasuke Uchiha doesn't say jokes. Whatever, said Sasuke. I'm not a squirt. You. Duck butt-haired freak, yelled Haruka. Sasuke's eyebrow suddenly gave an unimaginable twitch. Duck butt-haired freak? Only one person has called me that. Naruto. Naruto burst out laughing. Soon followed the rest of the kids, even the one that Sasuke was carrying. Sasuke just sighed in his attention to the kid he carried. He asked, "By the way, what's your name?" The little kid looked up at Sasuke. Shyly putting his head down, he mumbled, "Daichi." Sasuke nearly dropped the boy. "Daichi, Itachi." The kid, seeing his reaction, went glum. "I sorry if my name sounds like Tachi." Sasuke, seeing how he had affected the kid, "Don't worry about it. The one that should be sorry is that man. I mean, he tried to take your name. What a loser." The kid's mood suddenly rose, and he giggled. Sasuke just gave him a small smile. Naruto just stared how Sasuke interacted with his younger family. Operation Help the Emo. A success. An hour later. By Haruka, Kin, Katashi, Aiko, and Daichi, said Naruto as he walked out the building with Sasuke. Sasuke just gave the best wave and smile that he could. Sasuke then turned his attention to Naruto. "You're still gonna teach me?" Naruto just let out a big sigh. "Great. Fine, but I'm not gonna teach you any elemental jutsus. I'm just gonna help you improve your chakra control and some basic Uchiha Genjutsu," replied Naruto. Sasuke gave him curious look. "Chakra control? Why would I want to know that?" Naruto just deadpanned. "How am I considered the loser at the academy if even the prodigious Uchiha doesn't know about intermediate chakra control exercises? You know how you can only do the fireball jutsu a few times?" said Naruto. Sasuke just nodded. "Yeah, so the best way to do more is to increase your chakra reserves." Naruto shook his head. "Not exactly. Yes, that is important, but also is having great chakra control. If you can use the perfect amount, not any less or any more, then you can use the technique to the fullest potential. You see, if you don't have perfect control over your technique, then you may only use it 4 times a day. Though if you can have at least good control over it, you can increase that number depending on your chakra reserves. For example, me. I have huge reserves since my mother is an Uzumaki. So, I can use the fireball technique up to 8 times. Sasuke looked at him in shock. 8 times? He's no older than me, though. Though since fire is my weakest element, I'm limited. I usually use wind or water, while having small control over lightning and fire," replied Naruto. Sasuke couldn't hide how shocked he was. For different affinities? How? Only a few Jonin can learn more than 2. Naruto just smirked. "I know Shisui-sensei had the same. See, I come from 2 different clans. I was fortunate to receive the wind and water from the Uzumaki clan, which are indeed my stronger affinities. Those I use more regularly. The other 2 I received from the Namikaze clan, which are fire and lightning. Those are my minor ones. Though I really can't use the other 2. I have poor control over them. I can't use any jutsus over C rank in that area, unless I put tons of effort in it." Sasuke's skill couldn't help but stare in awe. "That's amazing. How did you get so strong?" Naruto just looked up to the sky. "I didn't want to lose anyone else. After Shisui died, I made a promise that no one I cared about would die. Not while I'm alive." Sasuke watched Naruto as closely he to find a lie in what he said. Then he too looked up to the sky. "Maybe. I can too." Then suddenly, without him realizing, his thoughts took him back to those 5 kids he was just with. That's when Sasuke made his new resolve. "Naruto." Naruto turned his head to face Sasuke. "What?" Sasuke, without looking back, responded, "I'm still gonna kill Itachi." Naruto was just about to protest when Sasuke continued, "But first I will become strong and look after those kids. I finally realized that they are more important than worrying about him. But once they grow up, I will kill him." Naruto smiled. "This went better than I thought. Let's go do these chakra control exercises," said Sasuke as he turned to walk down the road toward the training grounds. Naruto sighed. "Well, I guess some things don't change." Seeing that Sasuke had stopped to wait for him, he pondered more. Go home and listen to Mito talk about Ino's new haircut. Or watch how Sasuke comically fails and whines about it. I guess it's settled. Sasuke, wait up. Let me buy some kanai, said Naruto. Sasuke just raised his eyebrow. Whatever, hurry up. Flashback, no jutsu end. Sasuke gave a small smirk. These guys have no idea about you, Naruto. But don't worry, I'll be sure to give you some competition. I will definitely surpass you, but I feel like Itachi will come first. His resolve is weak against mine, though yours is a different story. Sasuke watched how Naruto and Kiba almost engaged in a small fight, though Iruka was able to break everything up. Iruka suddenly yelled out, "All right, class, since your classmates feel so confident about knowing everything that is needed to know, I will be giving you a pop quiz." Suddenly, a bunch of the kids groaned. Great, thought Sasuke as he fell back to his emotionless state. After the academy, Sasuke and Naruto were walking out of the academy. Naruto had made a clone to distract Sasuke's herd of fangirls. "So, we're gonna train today? I kinda wanted to take on a sword similar to yours," asked Sasuke. Naruto just gave him a grin. "Oh, like me, huh? Next thing you know, you'll be taking my clothes." Sasuke retorted, "No way. That orange and black jumpsuit isn't the best choice. You should probably take something more interesting, like a traditional Uchiha outfit." Naruto sighed. He's still at it? "Sasuke, I won't change my clan name to an Uchiha. I know you want to keep the Sharingan in the Uchiha clan, but I will be changing it to Uzumaki," said Naruto. "Whatever, I was just suggesting," said Sasuke. "Well, not today, but if you want you could go take a look at the swords at a shop. Then pick one out. I'll help you out tomorrow, but got things to do today," said Naruto. "We'll still visit Haruka if you want. I mean, we do every day," said Sasuke, wondering what his friend had to do. Naruto shook his head. "Not today. I'm gonna ask my mom to teach me some jutsu." "I thought you were on thin ice with your family," asked Sasuke. Naruto nodded. "Yes, but with my mom's it's different. So, I'm gonna give her a chance." Sasuke nodded. "That's great. I remember my mother was best friends with Kushina. She was a nice lady." "Yeah, I guess she isn't too bad," said Naruto. "See you then." Naruto disappeared in his shunshin. "I really need to learn that, though he never uses all the hand signs," said Sasuke out loud. Uzumaki Namikaze's household. Naruto arrived in his leaf shunshin. Then suddenly he felt a fist connect to his temple, with pain rushing to his head as he fell to the ground. "Stop using the leaf shunshin," yelled Kushina as her hair was raised in the air. "Ow, ow, my head," moaned Naruto as he rubbed his head. You deserve that. I have to clean after you leaves every day," retorted Kushina as her hair slowly lowered. Naruto slowly got up. "Maybe I shouldn't ask her. Too late now." "So, why aren't you with Sasuke? You usually aren't back until later," asked Kushina as she went back to cleaning some dishes. Mom, I was wondering if you could teach me some jutsu," asked Naruto. Kushina stopped cleaning the dish and let it fall to the ground. Quickly turning around, she was all smiles. "Of course, Naruto. I'll teach you jutsu, Databane." Naruto raised his eyebrow. "Databane?" Kushina let out a small blush. "It was a verbal tick when I was younger." Kushina and Naruto just stared at each other a minute. "So Databeo?" "Yeah," replied Kushina. Naruto didn't know exactly what to think. The more he learned about his mother, the more similar they seemed. "My verbal tick is better," stated Naruto as he sat down at the table, pulling out the basic sealing materials. Kushina blinked. She didn't like to lose an argument, but she didn't know about boasting about the verbal tick she desperately tried to get rid of. Her son had put her in a tight spot. I don't know if he did it intentionally, but if he did, then he is much smarter than I thought. "Whatever, verbal ticks are dumb anyways," Kushina tried to coolly replied. Naruto just laughed. "That's not what Grandma Tsunade said. She thought it was adorable." Kushina grinned. "Naruto seems to be Grandma's little boy. Is that it, Naruto? Are you Grandma's little boy?" Naruto just blushed, not happy that his little teasing had been turned against him. "Whatever, let's start." Kushina gave him a big smile. She had finally gotten her son to open up. "Okay, let's start." Hours later, Kushina watched as Naruto had been able to copy every single character to the smallest detail. She had told him to use the Sharingan to do it faster, but he said he didn't want to rely on the Sharingan too much. Naruto had told his mother that he didn't want to be a one-trick pony. No, he wanted to excel in every aspect of the ninja. This swelled Kushina with pride. Though even without his Sharingan, his eyes were still able to copy every character to the smallest detail. Something that usually takes about 2 days took him 4 hours. You're very talented, Naruto. If you want, we could start the basics of a regular sealing scroll, then completely master it in a week or 2, offered Kushina. Naruto shook his head. No, I'm going to meet someone. As well, I want to make sure to remember all the characters first. Kushina just nodded. Good choice. I was usually too eager when learning about Fuinjutsu, making many small mistakes. Thankfully, none of them were serious. Though, who are you meeting? Is it a girl? Giggled Kushina. Naruto blushed at what his mother was thinking. He quickly collected himself and responded, Matter in fact, I am. Kushina's teasing face turned to a surprised one. He's already seeing a girl. Why didn't I know? Naruto just grinned. Hee hee, I so got you. Kushina's curiosity got the best of her. Who is she? Can I meet her? Naruto grinned even more. Why would you want to meet her? We're just friends. Kushina waved her hands in the air. Well, why wouldn't I want to meet your friends? It doesn't matter that she is a girl. Naruto smiled, her face when she realizes. Fine, keep up, said Naruto as he formed a hand sign and disappeared in a leaf shunshin. Kushina growled Naruto, as she too disappeared in a shunshin. Outside the orphanage. Naruto was standing outside of the orphanage. He was waiting patiently for his mother. Suddenly, Kushina appeared, and she made her way angrily toward Naruto. Naruto, I told you to stop using the leaf shunshin, growled Kushina. As well, how could you leave not telling me where you went? I had to shunshin 5 times until you came in rage of my sensing abilities. Naruto shrugged. I told you to keep up. Kushina was about to hit him until he begun to walk into the orphanage. Kushina looked up, wondering who the girl could possibly be. Does she live here? Asked Kushina. Yes, said Naruto. Kushina and Naruto walked into the front office, greeted by the same lady as before. Naruto, I thought you weren't going to come today. Haruka wouldn't stop asking about you, said the women. Naruto nodded. Don't want to keep her waiting. The women nodded. Go right ahead. Kushina was pondering. Haruka? Naruto walked down the same right hall as he had with Sasuke. Naruto and Kushina made their way to an orange door. Naruto knocked and waited. Kushina then blurted, Is this girl your girlfriend? Naruto laughed. There's no way she would be my girlfriend. Kushina raised her eyebrow. Why not? Naruto was about to respond when the door opened up. Then suddenly a black blur dashed to Naruto and tackled him. Big brother, you're late. Naruto laughed. You can't tackle me every time I bring someone databeo. Haruka looked up, finally noticing Kushina. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Turning her attention to Kushina. Hello, I'm Haruka Uchiha. Who are you? Kushina was a bit taken back. Big brother? Uchiha? I guess Naruto really cares about the remaining Uchiha clan. He even lets one call him Big Brother. I've never heard Mito call Naruto like that. With so much love and devotion. I'm Naruto's mom, Kushina Uzunami's, said Kushina. Haruka's eyes widened a bit. You're Naruto's mom? But you look like a tomato. Kushina's eye gave a very irritated twitch. Tomato. What did you call me, squirt? Shouted Kushina. Now it was Haruka's turn to get mad. I'm not a squirt. Naruto just sweat dropped. Haruka, why do you have to insult everyone I bring? Mom, she's just kidding. Awkwardly laughed Naruto. No, Naruto covered her mouth and gave his mom a smile. Kushina just accepted and moved on. Fine, I'll be going, Naruto. I'll see you at home later. It was nice to meet you, squirt. Kushina walked out the door heading home. Naruto just let out the big sigh he was holding. Then he let go of Haruka. Haruka fell to the ground, though quickly getting up. She yelled, How dare she call me a squirt? That tomato-looking freak. Naruto just sweat dropped. Haruka, you can't insult people and expect them not to insult you back. As well, you kind of are a bit of a squirt. Haruka punched Naruto in the arm. Whatever, let's go get some ramen. I've been waiting for you. By the way, where were you? Naruto picked up Haruka and replied, Sure, I'm kind of hungry too. As for the latter, I was doing some special training. Big brother? Why do you train so much? Asked Haruka. You're already plenty strong. Naruto gave Haruka a big smile. To protect you, of course. Haruka gave him a frown. Well, you don't need to. Because I'm going to be a strong ninja. Then I'll be the one protecting you. Naruto just flicked Haruka's nose. Until that day, I'll have to protect you. So I can't slack off. Can I? Haruka just pouted. Stop that. It's so annoying. I don't know, nah, stated Naruto. Then, forming a hand seal, Haruka and Naruto disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Uchiha surviving kids. Haruka Uchiha F., Shisui's little cousin, daughter of Mina Uchiha, 5 years old. Kin Uchiha, Uchiha kid who survived massacre, 9 years old. Katashi Uchiha, Uchiha kid who survived massacre, 8 years old. Daichi Uchiha, Uchiha kid who survived massacre, 3 years old. Strongly resembles Itachi. Aiko Uchiha, F., Uchiha kid who survived massacre, 10 years old. 6 months later, final graduation day. The whole class was sitting in their seats, each one sitting impatiently for the test to begin. Out of all of those kids, there was also Mito Namikaze, the beloved daughter of the 4th Hokage, Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed Fox. Mito was sitting by Ino, as usual, though today she wasn't paying attention to what she was saying. She was too busy looking at her annoying brother, Naruto. She usually didn't give a care in the world about him. She didn't like how he liked to goof off in class and act like he knew everything. She didn't hate him. She loved her brother in a way, though she couldn't help but feel jealous. She hated being the center of attention, considered the hero for housing the Nine Tails. The only person who she felt understood her was Ino, her best friend. She envied the fact how Naruto just acted without a care in the world. Though what had really set her off was who she had seen Naruto with. A little girl who had been calling him Big Brother. Did he just set me to the side? Don't I mean anything to him? Jealously thought Mito. Why should I care anyways? I mean, he never really talks to me. Hey Earth to Mito. Interrupted Ino, having noticed Mito not paying attention. Huh, said Mito as she suddenly came back to the real world. Did you listen to anything I said, Mito? Asked Ino. Then Ino looked to where she was staring, as she spotted Naruto. Does Mito have a problem with Naruto? Ino shook her head as she faced her friend again. I was saying how I hope I get a really good team next week. I mean, after I pass the exam. I hope I get Sasuke. Yeah, I hope I get a good team too, muttered Mito as she moved the blonde hair out of her face. Ino sighed. What's up with you and Naruto? Did you guys get in a fight or something? Mito just shook her head. Don't worry about it. It's nothing. Meanwhile, on the other side of the room, Naruto and Sasuke were talking. It seems you've taken quite the liking to little Daichi, asked Naruto. So what? He's better than that little devil sister of yours, Haruka, retorted back Sasuke. Naruto sarcastically clutched his heart. Oh, one straight into the heart. You're quite defensive about him, huh? Sasuke just lowered his head. The boy's very perspective and smart at such a young age. He reminds me a lot of Itachi. Naruto just nodded. Having understood what he was thinking, you don't want him to turn out like him? Well, if that's the case, don't push the idea of becoming a ninja. Sasuke lifted his head in question. Why? You probably know this, but Itachi was pressured by your father to become a ninja. So, he was forced to quickly go to the ranks. Naruto quickly took a deep breath. He really hated lying about Itachi. So, he probably just cracked under the pressure. That's probably one of the reasons he ended up. Sasuke just nodded, letting him know what he meant. An eerie silence overtook them. Then they continued their conversation. You're right, we shouldn't pressure any of them, replied Sasuke. Naruto added, yeah, we should let them take it slow and steady. I heard that the academy are now making them go 6 years, starting at the age of 6. So, Haruka will probably be joining since her birthday was 3 weeks. Daichi won't have to worry about any of this, since he just turned 4 not too long either. Replied Sasuke. Naruto just sweat dropped at the classic Uchiha grunt. I'm so glad Haruka is nothing like the average Uchiha. Though I wonder how she will do when she joins the academy. Well, at least I won't have to worry about her when I go on missions. 'Cause today is the day I become a ninja. Then suddenly Irika and Mizuki walked into the room, followed by 2 of them being dark-haired boy with really pale skin. He was wearing a short black jacket with 2 red stripes on them. With the jacket, he was wearing some black pants and sandals. The other one was a girl with long brown hair and a blue bandana in her hair. She also had pale skin, though not as pale as the first. She was wearing a dark blue kimono shirt, a light blue skirt, and blue sandals. Many of the students, included Naruto, were wondering who they were. Though their question was answered as Irika spoke up, "Hello, class, as many of you know, we will be taking our final exam today." Irika then motioned the kids to come forward. "These two kids will be taking the exams with us. They might even end up being on your team if they come to pass." Then most of the class begun to groan and shout stuff like, "That's not fair. They should have taken the class too." Irika then expanded his head and shouted, "Shut up." The class then settled down. As soon as they did, Irika continued, "They have had private tutoring, that's all. The girl is Yakumo Kurama," spoke Irika as he pointed at Yakuma. Yakuma looked very nervous and was acting a bit shy. Then Irika pointed at the boy. "The boy is Sai. You guys may take a seat," said Irika as he gave both of them a smile. Naruto watched as Sai quickly found the closest seat, which was right by Kiba. He then went on to make some comment about dog breath, which Naruto comically watched Kiba go into a fit. Naruto just chuckled. Then the chuckle turned into a serious look. This kid fits the perfect description of a rude ANBU. Well, according to the scroll Shisui gave me, his smile is fake, and he's bad at interacting with others. I wonder if he's a spy, or father got him out of root. Regardless, I will be keeping my eye on him. Naruto then looked at the other new kid. He watched as she was still nervously trying to pick where to sit. Naruto looked to the where Sasuke and him were sitting. Since he cornered Sasuke into the wall, his fangirls stayed away, leaving an extra seat. "I guess I should get this girl's story. Kurama clan? Specialists in Jinjutsu. I wonder if this could be the girl that father mentioned? The one that had awakened their special Kekkei Genkai." Waving at the girl to get her attention, he succeeded as the girl had turned to look right at him. He then motioned at the empty seat by him. He watched as the girl hurried across the room and sat by him. Hi, I'm Yakumo," said Yakumo as she sat down. Naruto replied Naruto. Then he pointed at Sasuke, "And the emo here is Sasuke." Sasuke just grunted, "Shut it, Whiskers." Naruto's eyes turned into red flames. "Why you?" Yakumo then interrupted Naruto with a small giggle. "Well, then nice to meet you, Sasuke." Naruto and Sasuke both blinked. Did she just act like a normal girl around Sasuke/me? Nice to meet you too," Yakumo replied Sasuke, already gaining some respect for the girl. "Wow, you're like the few of couple of girls that can resist Sasuke. What's your secret? It must be some medicine, right? I always had a feeling the girls in this class were crazy," stated Naruto as he received a bunch of glares from the rest of the girls in the class. Naruto then just chuckled nervously, as Yakumo just let out another giggle. "You're quite funny, Naruto. I was a nervous wreck a minute ago, and now I can't stop laughing." Naruto just smiled. "Well, that's me. So anyways, what were you doing before you came here? Who was teaching you?" Then Yakumo's expression took a sad one. "Well, I was being taught by a teacher who specialized in Jinjutsu, since my clan specializes in it." Naruto nodded, already knowing this. "Well, I really wasn't even supposed to be here. My teacher marked me as unfit to be a shinobi. She said I couldn't control my jutsus properly, though the 4th and 3rd Hokage decided to give me a chance to prove myself through this test." Naruto was clutching his fist. "Unfit to be a shinobi? Well, you better prove them wrong. You can never ever let anyone tell you that you can't do something, because only you have the power to control what you can and can't do, Databeo," said Naruto. Yakuma was a bit taken back by his response. "Prove them wrong." Then she smiled. "You're right, Naruto. Thank you, I needed that." Naruto just gave her a big thumbs up, while Sasuke just smirked at Naruto's antics. "Naruto, you may be one of the smartest people I know, but sometimes you act like such a kid, though yet you can bring the best out of most people. HN. Inspiring speech, Naruto, but can you turn it down?" asked Shikamaru as he stood 2 desks behind him. Naruto just smiled at his other friend. "No can do." Shikamaru then muttered, "Redheads are so much troublesome than blondes." This then caused some commotion with the blondes of the class, all led by Ino. They all begun to verbally attack Shikamaru. Then Irika interrupted them. "All right, class, settle down. We will begin with the written portion. Then we will continue with taijutsu and ninjutsu." Irika quickly passed out the test and begging the exams. They had 30 minutes to finish it up, though Naruto finished it in 15. So he was stuck waiting for 15 minutes. Though as soon as the tests were collected, Mizuki led them outside for the taijutsu portion, while Irika graded the written portion. As they came outside, Mizuki explained the rules. All right, simple enough. I will challenge each one of you inside this circle. Your objective is to stay inside and keep up for at least 3 minutes. I will continue until you're either forced out or you reach the 6-minute mark. The longer you stay and the more points you will score. As well, you can't use any weapons or jutsus, just taijutsu. Many kids nodded their heads. Some of the civilians looked nervous, though all the clan kids were relaxed. They normally did this with their families. As well, it was just 3 minutes. Naruto watched how most of the civilians ended up barely passing the mark. There was one or two that made it up to the 5-minute, was kind of surprised that Sakura was able to make it up to the 4-minute mark. When a clan kid finally went up, Shino, he only managed 4 minutes, which was reasonable enough to Naruto since his clan specializes in bugs, usually long distance. Then came Shikamaru, who could have made it farther, but just stopped after 3 minutes. Then went Choji, who did the same since he was too lazy to continue. Yakumo only lasted 4 minutes. Ino, Mito, Hinata just barely missed the 6-minute mark. Kiba and Sasuke, though, did manage to last all 6 minutes. Then second to last came Sai. He only lasted 5 minutes, but it made Naruto uneasy. It almost looks like he's trying to hold back. Naruto, Namikaze, you're the last one, called out Mizuki. Naruto just stepped into the ring. He then got into his own combination of the Uchiha and Uzumaki style he had learned from his mother and Shisui. Mizuki then smirked. Good, I just have to have him fail. Then my plan will be set in motion. The smirk made Naruto a bit. He didn't have time to think about it because Mizuki yelled, "Start." Mizuki then started to furiously attack. Thanks to Naruto's great reflexes, he was able to dodge most of the vicious blows. As well, even without the Sharingan, Naruto could keep up with all his movements. Naruto watched as his movements got faster and dirtier. Mizuki started to try to get a knockout punch. Though to his surprise, Naruto kept up. The rest of the class watched at the speed that they fought. Even Mito looked impressed at her brother's skill. He's trying to purposely make me fail. As soon as the 3-minute mark comes along, I'll take him out, concluded Naruto as he dodged another punch. This brat is good, thought Mizuki as he kept trying to take him out. Now, as soon as Naruto noticed the clock hit 3 minutes, he countered. Letting Mizuki's punch slide into the inside of his punched him right in the stomach, forcing him to stop dead and is wrapping his arm in a bear hug. He swung his body over his arm, leading with his heel. He let his heel connect to the top of Mizuki's head in a downward motion. His heel kick slammed Mizuki's head into the ground, knocking him unconscious. Then Naruto jumped off to the side. Most of the class stared in awe and shock. They had just seen an academy student take down a Chunin. Even though they were about to become Genin, this was unheard of. Naruto just smiled at his accomplishment until he heard Irika yelling, "Naruto, you're not supposed to knock out the teacher." Naruto just shrugged. I was getting a bit bored, so I decided to speed things up. Irika just sighed. He didn't know what to say. It was unheard of a student knocking out the teacher, especially one bold enough to do it during the exams. Risk of getting disqualified. He decided to just let this one slide. Let's move along to ninjutsu portion, while I take Mizuki to the infirmity. So with that, Irika took Mizuki to the nurse. The rest of the exam went without any more problems. Everyone passed the ninjutsu portion, thus having all 27 students pass. Irika had then told everyone to return in a week to get assigned to their teams. Yakumo, Naruto, and Sasuke had then proceeded to walk out. Naruto and Sasuke have taken a liking in Yakumo and invited her to eat. Also, she had told them her parents had died in a house fire, so they didn't want her to be alone. I told you that you would pass, Naruto told Yakumo with his big grin. Yakumo just flushed at his comment. Thanks, Naruto, but I wasn't as good as you. I mean, you knocked out the Chunin instructor. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. I'm not that good. Don't be such a fool. This is probably the only time you will hear this from me, but that was pretty impressive, said Sasuke, though I could have done the same if I went last. Typical, don't flatter yourself, duckhair, said Naruto, causing Sasuke's eyebrow to twitch. Yakumo just laughed at them. You two are such weird friends. Naruto and Sasuke were about to protest when a shadow came over them. What's this that you knocked out the Chunin instructor? Yakumo and Sasuke jumped at the tone of the voice. Naruto also flinched at the sound of the voice. Turning around, he saw it was Kushina, not looking too happy. And mother? Well, you see. Then suddenly he was engulfed in a hug. That's my Naruto. Knocking out the teacher. You know I did the same thing. But I wasn't bold enough to do it on exam day. You sure are something databang. Naruto just let go of the breath he was holding. Yakumo and Sasuke's sweat dropped. Seriously? Databao? Databang. How about we get Mito and celebrate? Exclaimed Kushina. Naruto got loose from the hug. I'm sorry, Mom. I already promised I would go with Sasuke and Yakumo. I can't let Sasuke get too antisocial. Sasuke just grunted and mumbled, I'm not antisocial. Kushina looked sadly at her son. I guess that's okay. Though your father would want to hear about your graduation. Naruto just turned to Yakumo and Sasuke. Whatever, I'll be at his office later anyway. I need to talk to him about something. This caused Kushina to raise an eyebrow. About what? You'll find out. It might make you a bit happy too. Naruto said as a grin covered his face. Let's go, guys. Grabbing both Yakumo and Sasuke, they left in swirl of leaves. Kushina just pondered to herself, make me happy? Maybe he's going to try to bond with Minato. Okay, now to find Mito. Then Kushina searched for Mito. Outside of ramen shop. Naruto, Sasuke, and Yakumo all arrived at Ichiraku Ramen. Yakumo and Sasuke looked a bit dazed and irritated at Naruto. What was that? Asked Yakumo. That was my body flicker technique. I guess I should have warned you, said Naruto as he rubbed the back of his head. It's okay, just tell me beforehand, replied Yakumo as she had finally gotten rid of the dizziness. Come on, they're waiting inside, said Sasuke as he walked into the shop. With that, the trio walked into the stand. Sitting in the seats were Daichi, Haruka, Katashi, Ken, and Aiko. Brother, wow, you're a ninja now, exclaimed Haruka as she gave Naruto a hug. Yes, calm down, Haruka, replied Naruto as he put the girl back into her seat. Sasuke then proceeded to sit between Daichi and Aiko, while Yakumo just awkwardly stood there, though Aiko had noticed her. Hey, Naruto, who's the girl? Asked Aiko. Naruto turned his attention to Aiko. Oh, she took the exam with us and passed, so we decided to invite her along. Katashi, Ken, Haruka, Daichi, this is Yakumo. Hey there, I'm Ken, replied Ken. Hey Chen, Katashi grunted Katashi, which annoyed Naruto. I'm Daichi, shyly said Daichi. Well, I'm Aiko. It's nice to finally have a girl around my age. You have no idea how annoying these boys can be, said Aiko as she flung her black hair to the side, causing both Katashi and Ken to growl at Aiko. Hey, what about me? I'm a girl, asked Haruka. You're a squirt though, replied Aiko. Hey, I'm not a squirt, shouted Haruka. I'm. Tell her what I am. Big brother. Fun-sized? Replied Naruto as seriously as he could, though he couldn't help but let a smile escape. Yeah, fun-size. What? Shouted Haruka once more. Yakumo then just started to laugh and sat on the other side of Aiko. Naruto. Sasuke, you guys have quite the family, yes, quite adorable. Nice to meet you all. As you know, I'm Yakumo. Sasuke just grunted in agreement, and Naruto smiled and sat by Haruka and Ken. Yeah, we do, don't we? Well, guess today the meal is on me, so eat up. Hey, old man, we're ready to order. Give me a second, Naruto, replied Tucci, the ramen chef. Don't worry, Dad, I got it, replied the brunette girl behind the counter. The chef's daughter, I am. With that, I am proceed to take orders. Naruto watched how everyone was having fun. Even Daichi had opened up a bit more. Naruto couldn't help but smile. I guess I finally found my own family, even if they are more friends than actually blood relatives. Many hours later, Naruto had just finished dropping off the Uchiha kids at the orphanage. Now he was making his way to the Hokage Tower with a scroll in his hand. A scroll which he knew would cause lots of problems with his dad, especially since he had the Sharingan, a Dojutsu reserved for the Uchiha and Namake's clan. Naruto reached the tower. Going through the front lobby and through the secretary, he reached his father's office. Though before he walked in, he took a deep breath. This is going to be a long chat. Naruto opened the door and walked into his father's office. As he looked around, he noticed it hadn't changed since the last time he had come in here at the age of 8. His father was sitting at his desk, already waiting for him. Naruto walked across the room and sat in one of the chairs. Minato broke the ice. So, I heard you graduated? How are you feeling about it? Naruto just shrugged. I was hoping to graduate earlier, but I decided to stay put. So it wasn't a big deal. Minato just nodded, and they both stayed in silence for a minute. This was usually as far as their conversations. Knowing what else to say, Minato got to the point. So, your mother said you wanted to tell me something? Well, what could that be? Naruto didn't say anything. Reaching for his pocket, he pulled out a scroll. Pulling it all out, he threw it at Minato. Minato caught it and raised an eyebrow in question, though he remained silent. As he opened it up, he read through it. Then his expression turned into a shocked one. You want to drop Namake's from your name? Asked Minato. That's right, F.A. Lord Hokage, replied Naruto without a change in his expression. Why? Asked Minato. If you can't find your answer yourself, then you might not be worthy of the title of Hokage, said Naruto. Minato then just slammed his fist into his desk. But it's your family's name. Naruto then also stood up, as well as Uzumaki. I cherish that name more than Namake's. Why? I know it's more than that, said Minato. If you don't sign the scroll, I just have the third do it. It's the least you owe me, demanded Naruto. Owe you? Asked Minato, confused. Naruto's eyes then widened in anger. He doesn't even feel bad for what he did to me. Let me refresh your memory, Mr. Hokage. You remember back to my 9th birthday, the day that was supposed to be a great day to remember, which turned out to be the worst. When you disinherited me in front of all the clan heads. You couldn't have at least do it in private? No, you had to announce it to all the clan heads, with me there. You know what people call me on the street? Hey, look over there. It's the loser son of the fourth, you hear? He was disinherited because he wasn't fit enough to be an heir. Do you have any idea how much you hurt me? Yelled Naruto. Minato's expression was in shock. He had never heard his son yell. As well, every word he spoke was filled with poison. Every little thing he said is true. I've been a great father to Mito, but to Naruto. Looking back up to Naruto, he saw him calm back down. What have I done to make it up to him? As well, what does he mean what people call him on the street? Minato then closed his eyes and rubbed his temples. Making his decision, he grabbed his pen and signed the scroll. You're right, Naruto. I haven't realized how much I have hurt you, but with this I hope I can at least begin to heal the damage. Naruto didn't say anything, he just grabbed the scroll and headed for the door. But before he could open it, Minato spoke up. You activated the Sharingan right after the announcement, didn't you? Naruto just nodded his head without turning around. He then just walked out of the room. Minato sat at his desk and looked at his family picture almost 6 years ago, when Mito and Naruto were still friends. When Naruto would actually call him Dad, not Father, or Lord Hokage. Then a tear rolled out of Minato's eye. What have I done? Maybe he is right. Maybe I'm not worthy of Hokage. With Naruto. Naruto walked out of the office, with the scroll clutched to his chest. Naruto was crying. The memories of his birthday had scared him for life. It made him think that if he hadn't activated the Sharingan, then he wouldn't have had to kill Shisui. No, I can't think like that. If I hadn't activated the Sharingan, then I would have never found my own family. I probably would have been stuck being a lonely kid, thought Naruto as he walked out of the building. Naruto dropped off the scroll at the department, which dealt with name changes. After that, he begun to walk home. I can't go home. I might run into him. I can't handle another discussion about my past, especially about my Sharingan. Naruto then jumped to the roof and made his way to the orphanage. As he jumped roof to roof, he watched as the sun begun to set. As he arrived at the orphanage, already past visiting hours, he snuck in through the window, right into Haruka's room, the only person he could let himself cry around. As he silently got in, he noticed how his little sister was reading some manga. He let himself smile. You know you shouldn't read so much of that junk. Haruka fell off her bed, dropping her manga. Brother. Shoo, replied Naruto. Haruka stood back up and whispered, Brother, what are you doing here? Well, I was having problems at home, and I didn't know where else to go. Haruka just smiled. Well, you can always stay with me. We can have a sleepover, read manga, stay up late, and eat lots of candy. Naruto just let out a small chuckle. I don't know about the last one. You get a bit hyper with too much candy. Haruka covered her mouth as she let out a small giggle. Okay, maybe not lots, but we're having candy. Fine, respond Naruto. Haruka just jumped up and down in victory. She quickly went out of her bed and pulled out a box. A box filled with books, videos, And comics say, /in aren't manga and comics the same? By the way, brother, what happened with you and your family? I mean, your mommy is really nice. Even if she looks like a tomato, asked Haruka. Naruto just closed his eyes. It wasn't with my mother, it was with my father. I changed my name to Uzumaki like I told you I would, though it took a lot of arguing. So, I'm not really ready to talk to him again. I'm sorry. What if I talk to him? Asked Haruka, wanting to help her brother. Naruto shook his head. It isn't that serious. It's just I don't want to talk about how I got the Sharingan. Haruka understood what he was talking about. She knew he didn't like talking about it. Okay. Now, which one do you want to read first? Naruto just shrugged. I don't know. What's your favorite? Haruka just smiled and pulled out a creamy and greenish book. This one is my favorite. Want to know why? Why? Asked Naruto. Well, because the main character is the same name as yours. As well, the character is a lot like you. He never gives up. As well, he always beats up the bad guy and saves the day. Exclaimed Haruka. It's called The Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Ninja. Naruto pondered for a minute. I've heard that book before. But where? Well, it sounds like a great book. Let's start with that, spoke Naruto. With that, Naruto grabbed the book and sat on the bed. Sitting Haruka on his lap, he began to read the story out loud. 1 week later, Academy. Naruto sat with Sasuke and Yakumo. They had really begun to be good friends over the course of the week. They were actually hoping to be on the same team, though it was unlikely since Naruto and Sasuke were both top of the class. Sasuke was only Rookie of the Year because Naruto didn't want the title. So, he purposely missed a question or two on the written portion. Naruto just sat there silently as Yakumo and Sasuke talked. Sasuke had seemed to gain major respect for Yakumo because first, she wasn't drooling all over him. As well, he really respected her skills in Jinjutsu. Even Naruto had trouble breaking out of her intermediate once. Though as they continued to talk, Naruto was thinking about the course of last week. His mom had chewed him out for not coming home that night. Though after the news of him changing his last news reached his family, Kushina didn't know to be happy about changing his last name to Uzumaki or angry that he didn't consult her first. While Mito didn't say anything. She was acting a bit different, but Naruto just assumed it was about him changing his last name. He had seen his father only a few times, but thankfully he didn't bring anything up. He was just a bit more friendly than usual. Naruto guessed he was trying to make a slow approach. Suddenly Iruka popped in. All right, class, I'm proud to say that today you are now shinobi. Naruto just zoned out knowing Iruka was going to give his usual I'm proud speech. Though his attention returned when Iruka started to call out teams. Team 1 will be Iruka named off all the teams, though nobody said anything until they reached Team 7 will be Mito Namikaze, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruna. Your sensei will be Kakashi Hitaki. Haha, Ino. Love conquers all, yelled out Sakura. Mito didn't say anything, but you could tell she was annoyed by Sakura. Sasuke slammed his head into his desk, shocking everyone in the room. Naruto just gave his friend a nervous chuckle. I don't know whether to envy or pity you. Sasuke raised his head. What is there to envy? Well, you have Kakashi as you sensei. He's one sly dog. As well, he's the guy who has the Sharingan in his left eye. Remember I told you, said Naruto. Sasuke took a deep breath. I guess it won't be too bad then. Team 8 Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shino Sensei will be Kurenai Yuhi. Naruto watched as Yakumo flinched at the name. What's up with her? Kurenai Yuhi? Team 10 Shikamaru Nara, Choji Akimichi, and Ino Yamanaka. Your sensei will be Asuma Sarutobi. Dang it. I wanted Shikamaru on my team, thought Naruto. Why do I have to get the lazy bum and his companion? Demanded Ino. Iruka yelled back. Are you questioning the teams set by the third Hokage? If you didn't know, while the fourth overlooks the missions, the third is in charge of placing teams. Are you questioning his judgment? Ino just sat back in her seat, defeated. Finally, the last team will be Yakumo Kurama, Naruto, Uzumaki, and Sai. Your sensei will be. Naruto didn't hear the rest as he mentally cheered in his head. Yes, I get Yakumo. A useful kunoichi, though I get the root dropout. Yakumo smiled at the idea of being on Naruto's team, while Sai gave them a fake smile. So the mission is going according to plan. I wonder how Lord Danzo managed to get me on his team. Sasuke just grunted. wanting to be the one on Yakumo's team. Not that he would say that out loud. Your senseis will pick you up in an hour. Naruto and Yakumo both headed towards Sai. Hey Sai, let's go get some food, so we can get to know each other, said Naruto. Sai just smiled. Sure, let's go. Walking out of the classroom, they both head to the roof. Having all packed their own lunch, they decided to just eat on the roof. Though as they headed up there, they ran into a lady with raven hair and red eyes. Naruto assumed she was a jounin, even though she wasn't wearing the normal attire. Then the lady begun talking to Yakumo. You shouldn't have became a ninja, Yakumo. You're putting your comrades in danger, whispered the woman. Naruto noticed how Yakumo looked like she wanted to cry, while Sai said nothing. No, you're wrong, Kurenai-sensei. This is what I'm meant to be, responded Yakumo. But Yakumo, Kurenai didn't finish. Shut up, said Naruto out of the blue. Who do you think you are saying she can't be a ninja? She can't control her powers properly. She's putting everyone near her at risk, exclaimed Kurenai. So what? I don't care, responded Naruto. Why, you brat? Why don't I teach you a lesson? Said Kurenai as she went through the hand signs of dog hair snake ram, string bean binding illusion. Then suddenly she disappeared. Naruto closed his eyes. I guess it's time to test out the Jinjutsu reflection of the Sharingan Mirage Jinjutsu. Opening his eyes, he revealed his Sharingan. He suddenly felt himself being clamped down by several vines. Then she appeared in front of him. Not so cocky now, are you? You shouldn't underestimate me, said Naruto as he made eye contact with her. The moment Kurenai made eye contact with him, she gasped. There's no way. The Sharingan. Demonic illusion. Mirror heaven and earth changed, then Naruto suddenly disappeared. Kurenai just saw a pair of Sharingan before she felt she was the one clamped to the ground. If you hadn't underestimated me, I wouldn't have beat you, would I? That was your big mistake. As for Yakumo, leave her alone. I don't care if she couldn't control her powers. We, as her comrades, have complete faith in her abilities. Don't we, Sai? Declared Naruto. Sai didn't know what to say. I don't know. If she's a risk to the mission, then she shouldn't be involved. Yet, I need to get on his good side. Yes, Naruto, I also have full faith in her abilities, said Sai. Naruto just gave Kurenai a smile as he released the Jinjutsu. Let's go, Sai, Yakumo. We've got lunch to eat. Naruto grabbed Yakumo, seeing that she wasn't going to respond. Sai followed behind as they left Kurenai behind. Kurenai was just on her knees as she just gave Naruto a curious look. Naruto, Uzumaki, you're an interesting one. Such powers at such a young age. Kurenai stood up. Have faith in her abilities. On top of the roof, Naruto and Sai were quietly eating at their food, while Yakumo just stared at hers. Naruto having had enough. You're really gonna let her put you down? She said you weren't gonna be a ninja, but look at you now. You're a full-fledged shinobi of the leaf, said Naruto. Yakumo looked up at Naruto as tears begun to leak out. Thank you, Naruto. You're right. Thanks for backing me up back there. I don't think I would have been able to defend myself. That goes for you too, Sai. Naruto watched as Sai just gave a smile. You didn't completely believe in what you said earlier, did you? Asked Naruto. Sai gave him a blank look. What do you mean? Naruto sighed. I know you lied, though I appreciate it regardless. Sai was speechless for a while. How? Yakumo looked at Sai in interest. What does Naruto mean lied? First of, it's very difficult to lie to the Sharingan. As well I know that in route you're trained to get rid of any complications on a mission, replied Naruto. Sai just looked at Naruto in the eye, so he knew all along. Yakumo just gave a curious look. Root? How did you know? Asked Sai. Naruto continued to eat. The way you carried yourself, as well the way you talked. Everything was forced, though you're kind of different from the rest. Sai asked, what do you mean? You're not completely sure about Danzo, are you? Said Naruto. Sai narrowed his eyes. There's no way he knows about Shin. Sai just shrugged. He doesn't matter anymore. I'm no longer part of Root. Naruto finished his food and threw it in the trash can. Good, because you're now part of Team 11, and in Team 11, we never leave a comrade behind. What if, spoke Sai? There's no what ifs. Just like we didn't leave Yakumo behind with her old sensei. We never abandon a comrade. So, if you truly want to be part of this team, then you will never abandon a comrade, said Naruto. Sai just looked down at his plate. Never abandon a comrade? Is this emotion? Yakumo then spoke up. Yeah, that's a great motto to fight by. That should be like our team thing. Naruto smiled. I'm glad you agree. I hope our sensei does too. By the way, who is it? Yakumo was about to reply when the bell rang. Whoops. Well, I guess we should get back. You'll meet him there. With that, Yakumo walked down the stairs, followed by Naruto and Sai. 3 hours later, Team 11 and Team 7 were impatiently waiting for their sensei. Everyone else had already left for except those two teams. Naruto had already expected Kakashi to be late, but he had no idea who could be their sensei. Yakumo had quickly started talking to Sasuke, much to the annoyance of Sakura. Sai was just sitting at the desk in the middle deeply thinking. Therefore, Naruto had no one to ask. Naruto assumed it was just some new guy Kakashi had convinced to be late, or maybe a friend. Naruto sighed as he watched the clock tick. Then suddenly the door opened, revealing